everyone, and welcome to the Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, the sweltering heat, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about.
Phones dropping.
I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the guy who decided to go and work on his Jeep during 100-degree weather this weekend, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Yeah. Hi.
How are you?
Hello, Jason. I'm still recovering from that.
Yeah. Well, and this is episode 341.
Yes, give me your 341.
Oh, jeez.
Do you still have 341s?
I don't think so.
I bet you I do. I'm almost positive I do.
Really?
Yeah, I bet you I have one. It's not a 341 from Basic, but I'm pretty sure I have one from when we were at tech school.
Okay.
Because we used to have like 341 graffiti. Like you had to have two of them. Remember?
Yeah.
Behind your nameplate.
Yeah.
And they had to had to have something on the outside of it, if I remember right. Like they had to be folded over a certain way.
Yeah, they had to be folded and in your pocket with the little tab kind of sticking out.
Right.
And you had to have at least 3 of them on you at any time.
Right. And then you had to have the 2 on your dorm room because when wow. When they inspected your dorm room,
Yeah.
if there was a discrepancy, then they needed to see your 341.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is everyone wondering what we're talking about right now?
Yeah, probably. Except for Brady, Big Swede, Vickers.
Yeah. I don't know if Vickers is on yet, but I don't know if he got to Basic a little bit later.
Do they still do 341s?
I don't know. I don't know if they do. Well, I mean, I went online. Like, if you look at the YouTube thumbnail,
yeah.
I mean, I found a 341. It's the AETC form 341.
Yeah.
So they probably do.
Okay.
But
and for those of you who don't know, the 341 was like a form you filled out. It was basically a reprimand form, right? And you had to fill it out ahead of time, and you had to keep 3 on you at any time. So when you fucked up, your drill instructor would be like, "Give me a 341."
Yep.
And then he'd finish filling it out like this guy's a fucking idiot, and
right.
signed, Master Sergeant or no, Staff Sergeant, fucking whoever.
I had Staff Sergeant Hobbick.
Yeah, mine was Staff Sergeant Esquivel. Yeah, I think that was his name. But yeah, anyway, I think I was just so traumatized by the whole thing that I just wanted nothing to do with 341s after that.
Dude, I remember. Every time that number comes up,
every time
it goes right to that. That's
yep,
the 341. I've thought about that. I know I've brought it up at work.
Mm-hmm.
Like since I've retired, I know I've brought up the 341 thing.
Well, you should ask some of your young enlisted folk if they still do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. So aside from that, 341s, what are we talking about today?
We are, 214s. DD214s, and the 214 blanket is not what we're talking about.
I need to get one of those.
I know, I do too. We're talking about the Acolyte.
Yes.
The continuing controversy over the Acolyte.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to talk about episodes 3 and 4.
Yep.
And we'll give our spoiler free. How you doing? And then we'll give our spoilers and go through the episodes as we see them.
Yep. And then I have a segment for the very end. Essentially, I think I figured out and no, it's not the fucking bumbling potion guy.
All
but
right.
I think I figured out who the main bad guy is in the show.
Okay.
And I will give you my theory at the end in case nobody wants to hear it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing.
Yep.
The Acolyte.
Yes. But
and we're going to get there quickly.
Yes.
Because we have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, so we're going to take our weeks very quickly, get through all of these beginning segments so we can see or get the Sorry, I'm trying to very discreetly, which did not work, pull up Facebook so I could see our notes from last week. The
Patreon? Are you trying to get to the Patreon read?
Yes.
Hey, speaking of 214s, Shotgun Mark is in the chat.
Get the fuck out.
Look at him.
Oh,
Look at
shit.
Shotgun Mark.
Man, I haven't heard from that guy in forever.
But they didn't have 341s though. Marines, they don't have that shit.
I think they just like punched him in the face or
Probably.
hit him with the butt of their rifle.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Then buried him out in the field.
Yep. And
they had to dig themselves out.
Yeah, and the ones who survived, they got to stay in.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it went there, Marine?
All right. So we're gonna move over to Patreon.
I don't know. Are we?
Yes.
Jason?
If you're enjoying the Sidebar Cantina's content, consider becoming one of our Patreon supporters. For as little as $1 a month, you can support this podcast and help make it possible for us to continue to bring you quality content week after week. We'd like to give a huge shout out to all of our current patrons: Frank Kalevich, Don Solsky, Helen Martin, Shotgun Mark, Nick from Swede Studios, Scott and Kim from Use and Abuse, Catherine Rennick, Tina Land, Frederick Martin, Wally Frogmore, my wonderful mother-in-law, Patricia Goodstein, Lord Helmet Fire, The Orange and Fett Show. I saw Bronco Fett in the chat as well already today. He said something about my hair, but I don't know what he was. It's messed up.
That was not intentional.
Yeah, he said something about my hair in the chat, and I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. So okay. Carly Vickers, David Schmuck, Chantal from Pop My Culture, Kristen Roscom, Sterling Ager, and Dragon Buddy. Oh, and Nicholas Schaefer.
My penis is so smooth.
Oh, come on. If you'd like to consider becoming a supporter, you can find us at patreon.com/thesidebarcantina. Thank you again to all of our listeners and supporters. You are the reason why we do this. And we also want to announce that next week we're doing our June giveaway.
Okay.
Wait, no. Oh, fuck. We were supposed to do it today.
Were we?
Yeah. All right. We'll have 2 in July. First, the first week of July, and then, right? Because this is the last Monday in June. Because June is only 30 days.
Yep.
So on July 1st, we'll do June's giveaway, and then on like July 8th, we'll do July's giveaway.
It's kind of like doing an STRP. You do it for the month that just passed.
Pretty much. So yeah. Also, big announcement that we have. We are going to have an adjust
big like Bronco Fett's penis, because I accidentally did the penis drop.
Yes,
I did not do that on purpose.
Bronco Fett has a very large penis.
Right.
You can see it on display during the Boise football games, or the Boise State.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Boise State.
BSU.
No. Boise
No?
State. Yeah,
Okay.
just-
All right.
Go
Either
ahead.
way.
So incredibly large.
Your penis is so big.
Yes.
All right. So, big announcement about our schedule change. You threw me off. So our July 8th episode, 2 weeks from now, is 2 more episodes of The Acolyte. After that, we're going to every other week for the rest of the summer.
Yeah.
Mainly because, well, I'm going to talk about it a little bit in my week, but I want to spend some time with my kids before, they go back to school, because the 2 youngest are going to be a junior and senior in high school this year.
It's fucking bonkers.
Yeah, so the time's ticking if I want to spend any more quality time with them. So, So we're going to go bi-weekly until school starts up again. Once school starts up again, we'll go back to our normal schedule of once a week. So, and that's that. I'm like, why is he pulling out a lightsaber right now? Oh, he's using it to scratch his back. Good. All right. Are you done?
For now.
All right. Well,
I got a haircut right before this. So.
Oh, you're very itchy. Gotcha. Yeah. I have to shower as soon as I get one.
Dude, there hasn't been time.
Well,
Today's been
when I used to get them.
Right.
All right. So we're ready to get into our weeks?
Yes.
All right. Well, as always, we're going to start with a new addition to
The Sacred Jedi.
So first, I had no idea that this one even existed. And I saw it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And it was on sale on some website. I can't remember. But this is a 2-pack. This is
a Tupac?
Yes. It is a Rey and Luke Jedi trainer. I tried to open the plastic part. Oh, wait. Hang on. Ha-ha! And there they are.
Woohoo!
So this is either from the end of Force Awakens or the beginning of that shitty movie that we won't talk about.
I think it's Last Jedi because of how Rey's hair is.
Oh, okay. Well, take a look. And show the people.
Right? Somebody tell me, like, because of the way her hair is pulled back like that, I think that's.
Yeah, that does seem Last Jedi-ish.
And there's Luke.
Yep.
I really like the presentation here.
Yeah, it's good. And you can open it up and see the figures.
There you go.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I like it.
So I'll take it back whenever you're done.
It's probably not the best representation of Rey's face,
Oh, I didn't even get a good look.
but yeah, she's got better ones.
Yeah.
She looks kind of mopey right there. Kind of like
It is The Last Jedi, so
oh, boom, 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 boom.
we were all sad during that.
What is that a reflection of? What is that? What's up there? There's like, oh,
This is strictly for the YouTube audience.
it's just like what?
Yeah, it's the reflection of everything over here. Oh my god.
Anyway,
Okay.
here, look at her face.
No,
Look at her face.
Yeah, it's not the best representation of.
But I
everybody.
love the presentation as far as the packaging and
Yeah.
everything else. I really like that.
So, speaking of 2-packs, the next thing I have is
Tupac.
I found this on eBay, and it was actually an auction for 2 of the same pack, which was great for me. But it's also pretty fucking cool. It's something that I used to know about, and then I like completely forgot it until I saw it on eBay. I'm like, oh my god, why don't I have that? Now I do.
Did you have Did you get 2 of them?
I did, because the auction was for 2 of them on eBay.
Okay. All right.
And this
I'm
is
tracking.
Based on the Ralph McQuarrie art and Obi-Wan and Vader.
Oh my god. Oh, that's pretty fucking cool.
Oh, yeah. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh my god, I must own that. Yeah, check out the Vader.
When the fuck did this come out?
I have no idea. It might have been recently. It might have been up for pre-order months ago, and that's how I knew about it. Vader's even got a white saber because that's what the Ralph McQuarrie art looked like.
Both of their sabers.
And then,
man, I want one.
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I love the Macquarie stuff. I mean, I got the pops when they came out for all the Macquarie ones. Oh man.
Well, let's roll the tape and do this live. We're gonna go to eBay and just see how much they are. eBay Ralph McQuarrie. Oh, I think I butchered that spelling. How do you spell his last name?
It is standby. Mike Charlie Quebec Uniform Alpha Romeo India Echo Sierra.
All right, got it. Oh, some of these fucking dipshits on eBay, like they've got a picture of the Darth Vader loose from the box, like in a pose and everything, and it looks great. And then I'm looking at the auction, I'm seeing $5. What? Oh, it's the base. They've got a little base on him, like a little round base, and they're selling that for $5 with $6 fucking shipping too. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Anyway, I can see one for $80.
Jesus.
Yeah, it ain't cheap, but it's a fucking, again, a sweet ass
Yeah.
Black Series thing.
Yeah, it is.
So the only other thing I have for my week, as I kind of alluded to earlier, it's been about 2 years now year and a half since I had my incident.
Yeah.
And I've been on medications and stuff. And I think it was this most recent medication change, because they added another one that's really kind of like pushed me back to some normalcy.
Okay.
And throughout this process, the more I get better mentally, the more I realized how fucked up I was before. To the point where, like, for Kristen and the boys, like, I was probably a miserable person to be around a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And now that I'm looking back on it, I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I was, that much of a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
To my own family too. So as I'm thinking about this stuff, part of the summer break is I want to spend, more time with the boys this summer, kind of get that quality time in while we can, make amends, so to speak. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on with me. And I've been driving with my middle son Adam, like every day this weekend, and then like in previous weekends, but we've been driving around all over the place. I'm taking him on 295, and
What's the car prospects look like for him?
So we're not even going to look at that until he actually gets his license.
Okay.
But I told him once he gets his license, we will buy him a car.
Okay.
May not be the fanciest car out there, but we will get him something.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, car's a car.
Yep. So yeah, that's it. Just trying to be a better person.
Yeah.
In general.
Well, yeah, dude, I know exactly what you're going through, and thank God for therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy and medication.
Yeah, I think it's more the medication than the therapy that's helping me. But hey,
Also, yes.
Yeah, whatever works.
Yeah.
So anyway, what about you?
It's speaking of, yeah. Last week was dominated for me by the whole colonoscopy fiasco.
Yes.
I'm not going to get into the gory details of it. I had a 2-day prep, and it fucking sucked.
Because you couldn't eat at all, right?
So you can't eat anything solid.
Right.
So
could you have smoothies?
No, because it had to be clear liquid.
Oh.
So you could have broth.
Oh, right. That's what you were telling me. You were going to have broth with
broth.
Nothing.
Yeah. Basically flavored water. But you could have so the VA, they gave me the instructions, and I wrote it. Oh, I don't have my notebook on me, but I wrote it down. It was you could have clear liquids and broth. They didn't give me any other options.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. Come to find out when I had a phone call later is that they had, you could have Jello, but you can only have certain colors, right? You can't have well, you can't do reds and things like that, because then it if it's the dyes are in your system, then it could be false positives and blah,
gotcha.
blah, blah, blah.
So it's more about the dye than
right.
Making sure you don't have an ass load of food.
So we bought some green Jello, and from Tuesday night until Friday afternoon, I consumed exactly one thing of green Jello that big.
Wow.
That's it.
And no Diet Cokes?
And some Diet. A Diet Coke I was allowed.
Oh, okay.
Because they say you could have coffee, and that was my negotiating thing was well, if I can have coffee, can I have, I'm not a coffee drinker, but can I have Diet Coke? And they said yes.
Okay.
So
because I couldn't imagine what you'd be like if you had to go 2 days without that.
I would have thrown a goddamn hand grenade into the middle of everything. So yeah, Diet Coke was my one indulgence. However, I didn't really drink it. I didn't want to intake anything, because once you start the medications to make you go, I don't want to put anything into my body for fear of it having to come out.
Yeah.
And all I did was drink water, literally. And it was the worst.
Yeah.
The prep for that thing is the absolute worst. Drinking a gallon of fucking antifreeze was horrific.
Did they at least flavor it a little bit so it didn't taste like sludge?
No, it didn't taste bad. The texture was fucking.
Was it really thick?
It wasn't super. It wasn't thick if you're doing an upper GI. It wasn't like that. It was more like drinking salty water.
Ugh.
So it had this that type of texture to it, because I guess they put electrolytes in it so you don't die over the course of doing this.
It's a good thing.
But yeah, it was not good. I lost 6 pounds.
Holy shit!
I don't recommend that as a way to lose weight.
But it's still an option.
Facts. I'm glad I didn't know of this. Because it really the polyethylene glycol is Miralax.
Oh,
right. It's an over-the-counter thing that you can get, or you can get a prescription.
Yeah,
but still, it's polyethylene glycol. ethylene glycol is antifreeze, people. So you can imagine why it's making you shit. It's because it's, a couple of fucking, molecules away from being antifreeze.
So, okay, I know you didn't want to get into too many details, but I gotta know, like, is it like an immediate acting thing? Like once you drink it, like it's immediately to the bathroom?
Nah, it's like 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
But you take so it was like I had to take 4 pills on Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
And so on Wednesday it kind of started.
Yeah.
And then went Thursday morning, took 2 more pills, and then between 3 o'clock and by 2 in the morning, I had to finish the whole gallon. Okay. So between 3 o'clock and 9:30, I had the whole gallon finished.
Okay, good.
And it was you're supposed to drink it like 8 ounces at a time.
Uh-huh.
So getting 8 ounces of that shit down.
Ugh, God.
And I recommend every 10 minutes to do it, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd do at least one an hour kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, they told me to try and do it in by half, right? So divide it in half, boom, make a time. So get it done by, if I started at 3, get it done by 5, make sure you're done half of it by 5, and then get the second half done, which is basically what I did.
Okay.
It was awful. Like, there's nothing about it that's good. The good news is that everything came back good.
Oh, that's
right?
very positive.
That's the good news. The bad news is the reason I was getting it done was for issues that would hope you would find something, because then it would be like, okay, it's this process of elimination, right? So if they didn't find something now, okay, now we're going to have to troubleshoot something else to find what this issue is. Apparently Shotgun Mark is also done. Yeah, because apparently there's a 2-day and a 1-day prep.
Oh,
I don't know why I had the 2-day.
I could imagine having to do that in one day and like completely clean out your system.
Because it's like, oh, hey, by the way, the goal is to make sure that like when you're going as close to clear as possible.
Right.
And you'd be surprised after so much how it's still not clear.
Yeah.
Like, how much flushing do I need to do?
Right.
To make this just fucking not be colored anymore.
Right.
It was awful.
Ugh.
It was awful. And it's not like an immediate like, oh, hey, you're done doing this. Like, hey, the procedure, like, you're asleep. And it was like, I was deep asleep too. It wasn't like a Twilight thing. It was like Michael Jackson propofol fucking full fucking blast, man. Dude,
more milk.
Yeah, there is nothing like, I've been put down a lot. Which is not a good thing necessarily.
Sure.
But I've had propofol a lot in my
wow.
In my, like, I've had a lot of scopes. I've had the upper stuff scoped out a bunch of times because of the whole cancer bit, and I've had 2 different knee surgeries, and I've had the stuff with the inguinal stuff. So I've been put under a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
Dude, that sleep is the best sleep. It's the best fucking sleep. I just like, it was just like, okay, do the thing. And it's like, all right, do you have any questions? I'm like, no, I'm ready to fucking nap out. Like, let's go. And then it's like, I just feel it going in. I'm like, man. And my last conscious thought is like, I know why Michael Jackson loved this shit, man. Because it's fucking like, oh, it's bedtime. And you're out, and then you wake up, and it's fucking over.
Yeah.
And honestly, I had some issues for the past few days, and I'm not going to get into any of that. But yeah, it was like I said, the good news is that everything,
Dave's colon is intact.
Right, everything is good to go there, and I don't have to do it again for 10 years.
Ah, excellent.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Hopefully in 10 years they have a whole fucking process where you don't have to do any of that shit.
Well, they do, because my doctor's been trying to get me to do it for a year. they give you that little fucking. They send you this box that's got a container in it that you're supposed to shit in,
Oh,
and
I've
then
done
seal
that.
it up and send it back.
I've already done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I have to do that That's a completely different thing.
Oh, is it?
Like, and there's blood work too. Like, I've done the blood work aspect of it.
Huh.
There's.
Either way, I'm not shitting in a box and then sending it to somebody.
It's not a box. Like you're. It's not. It's not as bad as all that.
I just no. I refuse. So if she wants me to get a colonoscopy, she's gonna have to basically do what.
Yeah, I mean, you suffer. Look, I'll tell you what. It cleans you out.
Yeah.
It does do what its intended purpose is. Like, if you have any idea of like, hey man, is there some gum stuck in there from fucking when I was 12 years old swallowing gum? No, there isn't. There ain't shit left in there. Literally.
Yeah.
It's like I should have brought they hand you in the post-op, right? They handed me the post-op instructions and then pictures. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? It's like it's like in a printout, and I get this diorama of fucking pictures of the inside of my body. Like, shouldn't my doctor be getting these? Like, I don't. Like, on an 8.5 by 11, like, not like here's like the films to take to your doctor, like,
Sure,
like
yeah.
the old days. Like, it's just like, okay, here,
Like a picture, like
Yeah,
like an old school.
It's printed on the paper, like if you were printing the PowerPoint slide notes. They're like this
Oh,
big, and there's a
okay.
whole bunch of them on the fucking page. Like, I don't need to see, like, it looks like the inside of a fucking, it's tubes.
So all right.
Cool. I didn't need to see that.
Yeah. All right. One last question before we move on from
All
the
right.
colonoscopy talk. Was there any point during the cleansing period where you thought you were going to shit yourself and not make it to the bathroom?
Several times. Several times. There's no such thing as a fart.
Oh yeah.
There's no such thing as a fart. I think afterwards, afterwards I said to Kathy, like, I made it a point. She was like doing homework, and I came in and I was like, hey, guess what? I farted. And she's like, good for you? I'm like, no, you don't understand. That's a big deal. Because it just, like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no such thing. You're not testing your shit fart separator.
Right.
You're not doing that. Like, it's like, nope. There's this is a full-blown 5-alarm emergency. You are going to create your nest. You're going to have the things that you need to do to entertain yourself. Your phone's got to be charged. It's
Wait, you weren't like on the toilet that whole time, were you?
it was on a lot.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It takes a minute.
Yeah.
But like I said, at the end of the day, everything's good. And if they had found something, they were in a position to start taking care of it.
Yeah.
And everyone, honestly, like, we are really fortunate. As much as I can rag on the VA for a lot of things, the staff that was in there for all the procedure stuff and everything, everyone was lovely. It was a good experience overall once I got there, and like post-op and everything else. It was great.
Okay. Good.
It's just, it took me till really about today to really feel kind of like kind of normal, honestly. But anyway, yeah, as much as I can rag on the VA, like the VA we have here in Philly, like the hospital in Philly, because it is basically co-located with Penn, you're sharing a lot of those doctors.
Oh, okay.
Like the residents and all the other people. It's so much cross flow from Penn.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, you'll see it. Like, if you're walking around, like, especially with the specialties, like maybe not so much with like even like my my primary right now. It's all Penn residents.
Yeah.
But you'll see it. They're wearing their UPenn pullovers and stuff. Like you'll see it when they're walking around.
Okay.
And it's not a coincidence. It's because it's so close.
Right. Right.
In fact, I've been to specialists where it's like, oh yeah, I had this thing done at Penn when I was active duty, and they're like, oh really? And they'll go in and they'll log into their Penn logins and pull a record. Right.
Well,
from
that's
something.
nice.
Yeah. Like that happened when I was at the rheumatologist.
Yeah.
Right. He was able to go in and pull something out because he's with Penn.
Nice.
So it's actually really it's like the VA has its problems. Don't get me wrong, but like we're very fortunate in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Anyway, the only other thing is fucking car problems. But you know what? It's not anything. Fucking that cyber attack that took out fucking all of apparently
all of the major auto dealers in
Right.
the U.S.
and it took out all of their ability to schedule, order parts, sell cars, like everything was all tied up into this one system. We are dumb. Like I hope at the end of this that people realize that they need to pay their fucking IT people more and be like, hey, we need to actually make an investment in some cybersecurity. Like, having
job security for me,
right? Having McAfee pop up and tell you like, oh yeah, your virus scan is done. That's not security,
right?
I mean, people are fucking dumb, and these executives and they're so intent on just profiteering in every aspect, and we're going to talk about that. That's going to become a point with me when we're talking about the Acolyte.
Okay.
But corporations are so intent on this that they're leaving themselves vulnerable to things like these cyber attacks.
Yeah.
And now they know, like the aggressors know, that hey, all these idiots are using the same fucking thing. This is a single point of failure. Let's attack that.
Yeah.
Like that. It is strategic element number one.
Yeah, and I haven't heard really any details on it. I kind of wonder if it was a ransomware attack.
I don't know. The guy, the service manager who I talked to today said something about it. One of the things that attacked first was the phones.
Yeah.
But yeah, between that and something I saw that kind of brought it up, and I was thinking about while I was working on a car today, and then talking to my barber when she was cutting my hair, and we were kind of talking about cars and how just the technology in cars and the fact that cars that are allegedly American made aren't made in they're not made of American parts. There's the single points of failure in a lot of these systems that we rely on are so evident, and there's such a vulnerability there that until things like this happen, corporations are just going to keep doing it and be like, well, until something goes bad, then we'll put money into it.
Well,
and then it'll be so fucking expensive to fucking recover from it, then they may not recover.
Well, what's kind of shitty now too is that companies are offered cybersecurity insurance. So now most of them are just paying like a monthly cybersecurity insurance so that they get, money back from losses if they get attacked. Now, I think they have to have like a minimum set of standards. Like, you have to have virus scan on all your computers. You have to have, some kind of vulnerability assessment. But if you do that, we'll insure you. And if you, lose any profits from a cyber attack, we will reimburse you. So now that's, again, incentivizing these companies to not take their own cybersecurity seriously, get this insurance, and then fucking continue to pay their IT's minimum and do the minimum amount of security possible.
Yeah.
So it sucks.
It's a shit show.
Yep.
But
Anyway,
that's,
moving on.
As I've gotten older, and this is what I said to my barber, excuse me, I've turned into this. Give me my 1989 fucking Wrangler that I pulled up in today that I was able to work on. And yeah, it was 100-degree weather. And then I worked on it while it was storming, which was not necessarily the most intelligent thing. And my wife had to come and get me. But
yeah, I mean, the wind was blowing. It cooled down very
definitely
rapidly.
cooled down. And, yeah, it wasn't the most intelligent thing. Afterwards, it got hot again. And then today it was much better.
Yeah.
So I still have some stuff to do, and thankfully you'll get to pick up my car, and then I can work on. I like working on the Jeep when I don't have to rely on the Jeep. I like driving it just because I want to, not because I have to.
Yeah.
And having to work on it the past couple days and other things kind of falling by the wayside is really annoying. But it is what it is. But I like being able to. I know that I can go and I can do whatever I need to do on the Jeep. If I have to manufacture something, if I can go I have to go into the shop and I manufacture something or put speed tape on it. Like if you are in our Discord, you'll see what I speed taped today. Then I can do that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do that with fucking cars? Like anything made in the 2020s? Probably not.
No.
You know,
I think those days are over.
In the fucking 2000s, there's too much computers. There's
Yep.
too much fucking software to get longevity out of fucking cars.
Yeah.
There just is.
And it's a way, call me a conspiracy theorist, but it's definitely a way to keep car shops, up and running, because they're the ones that have to look at it and they're the ones that have to, fix it, because we don't have that kind of know-how.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I won't even get into what the poor schmucks in the fucking that are actually in the shops trying to work are being, there's what they have to. They're not exactly making the money working on those cars, and they're being held to some ridiculous timelines and standards. Like when you're charging, hey, we're going to charge you 4 hours of labor for a job.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're allowed to take 4 hours to do that job? Or do you think they're working on multiple vehicles?
Oh, yeah, it's got to be.
And being double booked. And it's like, okay, the expectation is you're going to get this done in this time.
Right.
That way they can make more money from it.
Oh, yeah.
And they know that they may not be troubleshooting as well as they could be. Anyway, that's the end of that. I have more to say. Talk about corporations being fucking dumb. As we talk more about the Acolyte.
All right.
So let's talk about the Acolyte.
All right.
Let's get into it.
Okay. Yeah, so we're talking about episodes 3 and 4.
Yeah.
3, I think, is going to take up most of our conversation time.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to start off with a little semi-rant.
Okay.
I'm really, really fucking sick of all the negativity out there. Like, we've talked about before these guys that, their YouTube channels, it's nothing but negative about every single fucking thing that Disney does with Star Wars. Now, I'm not saying the Acolyte is perfect. I mean, I've definitely got some criticisms of it, but, overall, I'm enjoying the season. And these fucking YouTubers and these people on fucking Twitter or X or whatever, and they nitpick every little thing, and they act like fucking Star Wars is dead, because there's a lesbian couple in here. It's like, really? Come on, guys.
The things like the headlines, the thing that killed Star Wars.
Right.
Or I watched something, the cord that saved Star Wars. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And it was something out of Rogue One.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah, and what I'm really hating is how this has become so fucking politicized. Not that it really wasn't before, but I think it's extreme in this one, and it's on both sides. Because, on the Disney side, you got Leslie Headland, whatever her name is, doing interviews and like, this is the gayest Star Wars we've ever made, and a bunch of other just stupid comments. It's like, really, are you going to win any new audience? members by saying shit like that, and then fucking Amanda Stanberg or whatever the fuck her name is, like released a song this last week, like addressing the haters. And I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. And then of course on the other side, we've got these guys that every single thing, like literally every episode of this fucking series so far, I've seen after it's aired, like the next day, YouTubers, this killed Star Wars. And then the next week, oh, this killed Star Wars. And then the next week, oh, this killed it. And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Again, there's nothing wrong with having criticisms of the show. Because again, I've got some, but this is, it's not nearly as bad as all of these talking heads make it seem.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's really funny is as we are sitting here dealing with it
Mm-hmm.
and how polarizing it is, and it's a snapshot of society right now.
Yeah,
And
that's true. I mean, I don't know if we've ever been more divided as an American society than we are right now.
And
well, I guess Civil War, that was we were pretty divided then.
yeah. But what I'll say is this entire concept of like what the corporation, like what Disney is, or like, oh, well, Kathleen Kennedy is driving this thing, and this is what the corporation of Disney is trying to do, and changing Star Wars and doing all this. What I think the reality is at the end of the day, okay, it's kind of the flavor of the week.
Yeah.
But if the flavor changed, the corporation would change. Do you think that for 1 second that Disney isn't going to change at some point when this isn't?
When like the transgender fad wears off?
Right. When it's like, okay, this isn't, it's more passe now to fucking be worried about what gender fluidity, lesbians, or anything else. Now it's just part of we've made it a societal norm, right? So now it's not going to be a thing, and now we're going to be moved on to something else. The corporations won't have fucking pride flags every what month? June. Like they won't.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
They just won't have all of this advertising, this free advertising about what a great corporation we are because we're doing this.
Right.
That's what this is. Like, it's the same thing. All these actresses and they're playing on the fact that, like, okay, we're doing this. Any even negative feedback and negative press is good press.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it's getting attention to the product. Whether you're on one side of it or not, they're getting attention to the product. Now, what's it doing for ratings and everything else? It's really tough because it's a streaming service, right? So you're not getting ad revenue from it. So it's not probably helping them in the overall product. But the reality is none of these fucking corporations, not a single fucking one of them, really stands for what it is that they're waving the flag for in this particular moment.
Oh, sure.
If they have to change so that they can remain viable and keep their shareholders viable, then they're going to change.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about fucking gays. They don't give a shit about transgender. They don't give a shit about what's happening on the left. They don't give a shit what's happening on the right. What they give a shit about is what is making money.
Yeah.
Right.
Iger wants his, $50 million a year salary. So how are we going to squeeze the most money out of this?
The shareholders want a profit in any corporation.
Yeah.
They want a fucking profit. And that's going to be across the board. Nobody, like, you can't go stand and say, oh, I use this product because they stand for this. Nobody stands for that fucking shit. The only people that stand for anything are these individuals.
Yeah.
And guess what? You could be standing next to somebody in a fucking pride parade, or you could be standing next to somebody in a fucking, like,
Trump rally.
Or a PETA protest.
Oh, yeah.
And be like, yeah, I hate the abuse of animals too. But guess what? That person, as soon as it comes to a point where it's like, oh, you know what? I'm with you up until this point, and then that person fades away
Yeah.
because you've reached their point where it's like, okay, I'm with it up until here, and then they move away. Those like everyone has a particular point that they're moving on. We have now made this social norming. We've made it our primary focus. It's not about being happy. It's not about improving our civilization. It's not anything like that.
Yeah.
It's not about equal anything, because and it's funny, there's a meme out there that has all of these like alternate it's a college, there's some arts college in New York, and they have all these like fucking I studied transgender basket weaving or something, whatever. They have a bunch,
lesbian dance theory, that's the go-to.
yeah, it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like then what are you going to do with that? Like, is there a market for that? Like, are you going to be able to feed your family? Are you going to be able to actually live and do something in this economy right now?
It's tough for a lot of people right now.
In an economy where kids can't buy homes because it's so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Right? How about we start thinking about that? How about we start thinking about those things that have nothing to do with gender fluidity or what Disney is doing about fucking making sure that there's lesbians in a goddamn show.
Right.
It's funny when South Park does it, but South Park is telling us, like they're really good at doing, South Park is telling us that we're making fun of this because you shouldn't be fucking taking this seriously.
Right.
And South Park is good about, it's not just that. It's all of these things. Like what you should be taking seriously is things like, what are you going to be doing today that's going to make you happy and make it viable for you to continue to feed your family and prosper.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you should be fucking thinking about. And if you think that some corporation and backing, like, oh, I have to wave this flag around to fucking make sure that I'm on the right side of this. That's part of the problem. And it boils down to these social media people, because what are they doing? They're reaping benefit off of clicks because of this negativity.
Yep.
Right? Because this person's being negative. So who's clicking that? Well, it's the person that's like, well, I don't agree with this point of view, and I'm going to watch this.
Yeah, that's
so
the other
that
thing.
I can fucking hate on this guy.
Yeah, because they all angry watch the shit. I have
Right.
a coworker who's one of these constantly negative people that he still watches the show every week because he wants to complain about it the next day.
Right.
So, I mean, you're certainly not doing your cause any favors by actually watching the fucking show, because Disney sees those stats and that's how they base on, oh, should we renew or not? Or,
right.
So.
And again, sure, if the writer writes something because this is what's trendy, then fine.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is a Star Wars show. And like you started with, both of us, as we sit here right now, are watching a show that is enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching it. I enjoy watching it. There's nothing about this that is making me go like, oh man, this is excessive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What's excessive is the noise on the outside of it.
Right.
Like, and that's what you have to try so fucking hard to block out.
Yep. And I've started doing that, like on YouTube, all of these channels, some channels that I used to watch religiously, but they've just gone full blown negative. I've like started blocking them on my YouTube feed, and it's so much better now.
Yeah. I am a shut-in. I both on social like on social media and in real life. I mean, honestly, I'm very I want to be in my house doing my things that make me happy at home, and on social media I only look at the things that I want to look at.
So you're not going to spit on that thing?
I had to find that to
Me
figure out
too!
what the fuck that was.
Because yeah, it was like I think it was not even a week ago, like middle to the end of last week.
Right.
Like all of a sudden, I'm seeing this girl's picture all over Facebook. I'm like, what the
Who
fuck
the
is
fuck
going
is this
on?
broad?
Yeah, and so like Kristen Googled it because she didn't know either,
Right.
And then that's where we found the video and all that, and now like she has been fucking everywhere,
Dude, I saw it on the Bleacher Report.
Oh yeah,
Bleacher Report had a picture of one of the Hawk brothers from, I think it was in Green Bay,
Mhm.
and then Tua Tagovailoa.
yeah,
So Hawk Tua,
right,
right? And I'm like, and then it had a picture of her,
right,
and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on right
Yeah.
now. Let me Google and figure this fuck out. Then let me be the 50-year-old that I'm about to be, and have to go back and figure this the fuck out.
yeah.
And then when I saw it, I'm like, oh god, this poor girl.
Oh
Right?
yeah,
Like, oh jeez.
she went from like 0 to full 100 in a day,
And which, look,
and she's being known for talking about spitting on somebody's dick.
yeah, look, it's being used in so many different ways, and like watching the Phillies game the other day, Bryce Harper gets a fucking double, and he fucking gives a little. He goes, what's he do? He did like Hawk to like this to back to the man. So it's everywhere. It's fucking everywhere, and hopefully she gets something
Yeah.
positive out of it.
Yeah, like
It's not the worst thing to be known by the way. I mean, fuck that girl that like it's Friday. That broad, she at least made a song out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't. That's fine. That's the internet. That's
yeah,
fine.
and it's so weird
I don't-
too. They pick up on this the most random things sometimes,
Yeah.
and it becomes this whole other,
Yeah, that's the internet is a tightrope that you can either be on. It's a deep long fall
yeah,
if you fall off of it, and then, but the sky above is, I don't know, the tightrope's not a really good analogy because but there's definitely a line there,
yeah,
and it is constantly like vibrating,
Yep.
up and down. But again, I think that from a Star Wars perspective,
Mhm.
right? I'm still at a point where tuning out the rest of this fucking nonsense, what these, excuse me, these people that are broadcasting out into the ether about why we shouldn't be watching this.
yeah,
And even the other side of it with whatever the actresses and everything else. I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
Like none of that matters to me.
yeah. Same.
Like I've whether it's for Star Wars, whether it's for my fucking sports teams or whatever, I'm at a point now where it's like I'm going to watch what I watch because I enjoy it.
right.
I'm going to listen to music that I enjoy, and whatever is happening on the outside of it, I don't really care.
Yeah. And
If
again,
it makes me happy, then I'm going to watch it.
yeah, because I go into every one of these with an open mind. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it, and then I'll make a judgment for myself
Right.
afterwards. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna listen to these fucking clowns
Right.
and then just stop watching it.
And oh, by the way, I still don't like The Last Jedi.
Oh yeah, fuck that movie.
This doesn't change my opinion of The Last Jedi. The things I don't like about The Last Jedi, I still don't like about The Last Jedi.
Absolutely.
That doesn't mean that I don't like The Acolyte. Like,
right. And it's like, oh no, they have lesbians in it.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about it the last time when we were talking about the first two episodes of the series.
Mm.
The books in the sacred text, we've already been through this. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a thing. It's just not.
Yeah.
So, get fucking over it.
which of course they
Because
won't.
guess what? The industry, the corporations, when the fucking tides turn, which they will.
Uh-huh. Because, yeah, it wasn't that long ago after September 11th where everybody was, oh, American flags everywhere in America and USA and all that. Now you can't, people get offended if you wave the American flag.
It is fickle,
Yeah.
and it's going to change. And getting so emotionally wrapped up in it for something that is going to change so vehemently in the very near future.
Yeah.
Why don't you just fucking, hey, if you're a Star Wars fan, watch it. And if you don't enjoy it because you don't like the writing or you don't think that, like, hey, Bronco Fett, who's watching it, enjoys 99% of it, just has the one issue with one of the characters that they bring into it, which we'll talk about when we get deeper into this.
And
spoilers.
And again, I have my own critiques.
Yeah,
but
sure,
I am thoroughly entertained. It feels like Star Wars.
It does feel like Star Wars.
Like I don't know what else you want.
Yeah, it's not Andor.
No, definitely not.
It's not Andor.
No, it's not nearly as sharply written or acted as that show.
But it's Star Wars.
Yeah,
and I'm enjoying it. So
good.
Fuck everyone else.
And
if you enjoy it, fucking keep watching it.
And it's kind of almost like a mystery series, right? Because we have this secret, dark side person who hasn't been revealed, but we know it's probably somebody that we've already seen. So yeah, and I love a good mystery. Like I love mystery movies, mystery books, all that stuff.
Yeah, and me personally, I think one of the things that people have an issue with, and we get into it a lot more with episode 3, is this idea of the Jedi being like these constables.
Though there's something all right.
And it's like, okay, or not constables, the Gestapo, I guess, is probably more apt, because it's like, oh, hey, there's people wielding the Force, and we are going to find those people.
Yeah.
And we are going to control that.
Yeah.
We are the wielders of the Force. This thing that they talk about in the that the mother talks about in
like
in her speech is power.
Oh yeah.
And
no, I have a note about that too.
And it's so there's this episode that people had issues with, and I think that episode 3 in particular does a really good job of telling us what is happening, what's going on
from somebody's perspective. Obviously, there's still shit that went on during this episode that we didn't see.
Right. We're getting one side of it.
Yeah.
But at least we get a side of it.
Yeah. But like literally, I feel like we're going to see almost the exact same episode, but from somebody else's perspective.
Maybe.
Or at least, large parts of it.
I hope not a whole episode, because there's only how many episodes of this?
4 left. Well, there's 8 total, so 4 left.
There's 8 episodes of this, so we don't want to... I don't know if we need to waste the whole episode on it, but...
Yeah, that makes sense.
We want to get into spoilers, because whatever. Like, I'm tired of talking around shit.
Sacred
All right.
37 equals 37 dicks in a row. Do it live.
All right, we're talking about spoilers.
All right, so yeah, spoiler alert. From here on out, we're talking about spoilers for the show. So if you don't want to hear them for whatever reason, first of all, why are you watching in the first place? And second of all, this would be your time to tune out.
Yep.
So let's jump right into episode 3, Destiny. And this is a 100% flashback episode.
Yep.
The entire episode
From start to finish.
Start to finish takes place mostly on Brendok, where the girls are from. And yeah, it's kind of the story about how all the shit went down.
Right.
That the Jedi are being blamed for. So and it's Brendok is the name of their home planet. And it starts with, so first of all, tell me what you think of the young twins, as far as like how alike they look, and how much they resemble Amanda Sandberg.
I mean, I was fine with...
Yeah, so the girls are sisters in real life, because I Googled it, because I could see a very distinguishable difference between the two of them. And I'm just like, really, Disney? You couldn't just put out a casting call? We just need 2 identical twins to do some acting?
Look, it might be harder than you think to
true
to get to look like her, like the actress.
Yeah, well, I think they were good portrayals of the younger versions of them.
Right.
I just think that the 2 girls, looked different in the face,
which is fine.
Yeah,
but
because the adults are identical,
right,
and because it's the same actress,
right.
I don't know. It just kind of threw me off.
It didn't take me out of it. I didn't really pay that much attention to it.
Well, because in this opening scene when they're at the yellow tree, I kept having to rewind and see which one of the sisters said a specific line. And there's one scene.
Oh yeah, because you can't really tell who is who.
Right. And there's one scene in particular in here where they're, about to leave. So they're still arguing a little bit. And it shows like me and you talking, like I think it was OSHA. And I'm like, stop being an asshole. I want to do my own thing. And then she turns around and it flips to another view of her from the back, but that's not actually OSHA talking. Or OSHA that we're seeing. It's now May is right in front of us and turning around to leave. So it was a very confusing shot. I don't know if it was done on purpose or if it was just bad editing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So, and I'm also starting to think, like, are they trying to trick us with this? Like, are they trying to, have us get their dialogue confused? Like, who's saying what?
I think that's exactly what they were trying to do, because I was in that boat where I was like, okay, who said that? Which one is which?
Yeah.
Because maybe knowing that they aren't exactly looking alike, maybe they use the dialogue to make you think, okay, which one of those, because they're the same.
Yeah.
Which one actually said it?
That's a good point.
And because they're dressed identically, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, who is who? Who is actually who?
Mm-hmm.
And then until they get to a point where it's like, okay, there's mom.
Yeah.
Or
it's OSHA that walks up to Soul, and
right.
So at that point, the difference.
Right. But I think early on, like at the tree or wherever, I think they do it deliberately. Like I felt like they did it deliberately to confuse who was who.
Yeah.
Because they were identical.
Yeah. So the story, it's kind of starts out as OSHA's story, because she's the one sitting alone at the tree at first. But, she does the thing where she fucking force grabs that bug, that like flying insect.
Right.
And she like grabs it and holds it into place and then lets it go. And then when May walks up, she does the same thing. And OSHA's like, stop it. So I'm like, what? Weren't you just doing that?
Well, I mean, and that plays to OSHA's thing where she wants to do her own thing.
Yeah. And that's something I picked up on the second viewing of this, because I watched it twice. Where, it seems very obvious that she wants to get the fuck out of there. She doesn't want to be the same as May.
Right.
Like apparently May thinks they're a lot closer than OSHA thinks that they are.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No, that's 100%. Like OSHA's the flight risk.
Yeah.
Which is, it's an interesting dichotomy, right? Because you think, as we're in present day, OSHA is on the side of good.
Yeah.
Right. Allegedly. And May being on the other side of it, you would think that May would be the one that was like resisting her family, resisting being part of what they were part of.
But no, she was all in, like right from the get-go. She's like, I want to be a witch. I want to do the ascension.
Right. Like, you're my sister. Like, love is our bond, and blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, it was interesting to see that the separation was really OSHA's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. May was a lot more into OSHA than she was with May. So yeah, and then it was that scene where they talk. They're talking about the ascension. And at first I thought it was May who said that she didn't want to do it, or she was nervous about it. But that was the scene where they flipped the camera angle to make you think that it was somebody else. So I was very confused. I had to rewind this several times. So I'm like, okay, which one is that saying that right now?
Yeah, and I think that was on purpose.
Yeah. But yeah, they're talking about the ascension that they're going to do later that evening, and that's when Mother Coral arrives. So she's a Zabrak, like a lighter-skinned Zabrak, female, and she's very concerned about the girls being out, because come to find out that they know the Jedi are on the planet.
Right. Like, Jedi are out hunting.
Yeah, and sure enough, as soon as they start walking away to go back to the mountain town, you see fucking a young soul like peeking around a tree.
Like, huh? I'm gonna have this like surprised look on my face all the time, huh?
Yeah. He kind of does, doesn't he?
Yeah. Like, are you a mouth breather? Close your mouth. What's wrong with you, dude?
Yeah. And actually, I mock the fortress in the mountains, but it actually does look kind of cool. When you get close and it's the big stone walls and all of that.
Mhm.
Neat concept. Don't know exactly how stone burns, but yeah, what are you gonna do? uh,
Lava rocks.
yeah.
Maybe?
Okay, all right. So, once they get back home, the fucking the Zabrak gal, Coral, she's like trying to be like the hard-fisted disciplinarian.
Right.
But when the fucking mother shows up, because she's telling the girls, you can't have ice cream. Fuck you.
Right.
You were in the forbidden area.
Right. You were bad.
yeah.
Like, it's good cop, bad cop, and she's the bad cop.
Right. And I mean, she's kind of right though. You got to give kids boundaries.
Yes.
Because if you just like let them walk all over you, then they'll continue to walk all over you.
Yes. She was right. And this is parenting 101.
I know.
This is like
But I mean, you'd be surprised how many parents don't follow that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But and then I guess I don't know. I guess people like it doesn't matter what if they're both female,
Yeah.
right? Who cares? Like
Right.
at this point it's like they're parenting. That's
Mhm.
what's happening right now. They're parenting.
Yeah, but then the mother shows up and she's like, no, they can have ice cream and everything, and really just kind of undermining everything the other girl is trying to do.
This happens in households constantly.
Yeah.
Right.
And Bronco Fett made a good point in the chat where the way that the kids act around the two of them, they always gravitate towards the mother. Whatever the fuck her name is, Anastasia or some shit, and they always kind of give the Zabrak gal the cold shoulder, and they don't treat her like she's their mother at all, which we're gonna get into the birth and all that, so don't you worry about that.
Anastasia,
got it
right.
So I noticed also that Coral has like elf ears, the Zabrak.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it and I'm like, does Zabraks have elf ears? Because Maul didn't. Most of the male Zabraks that we've seen have not had pointy ears like that. But this gal did, and I went Googling on the internet because I'm like, that seems weird. I could only find one picture of a canon female Zabrak. And it was from an episode of the Clone Wars. It was Sugi, I think was her name.
Okay.
And she did kind of have pointy ears. But they weren't nearly that big, though. They were kind of small, but pointy. So I'm like, okay.
My penis so smooth.
So I'm like, all right, I guess this is normal.
All right.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like, oh, is she like a half breed, like half Zabrak, half something else?
Huh?
But no, they just have pointy ears. The females do. So sure,
I can dig it.
yeah. What are you doing? Your hand is like on the thing, like you're about ready to push. Something.
Mentally, I'm going like, we're not using the board enough.
Right.
So when opportunities present themselves, I'm going to be at the ready.
Yeah.
With my hands closer to it, then I will use it more.
This is the point where they mention, because then you got the two mothers talking, and they mention how they know the Jedi are on the planet. And then we learn through their interactions that they are a lesbian couple, which is fine.
Yeah.
I'd rather see lesbians than gay men. Nothing against them, but that's not what I'm into.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw me a couple lesbians. Yeah.
Again, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I really don't give a shit.
Yeah. So either way,
because there's no dudes
right
in this whole tribe. It's all broads.
Yeah.
So if they're going to be together at all,
so
in any relationship,
so you're saying they're all lesbians?
I mean, what else? How else is this going to work?
Oh shit!
If they're going to have relationships, then they're going to have relationships with each other. It's like being in prison.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I've never been to prison. But,
neither have I. But it's like, isn't that?
Well, I think in prison it's more you become someone's bitch than a relationship.
I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I don't have that type of.
No,
I can
me
only
either.
go by what I see on television, basically.
Yeah. So anyway, where did I lose my place? Oh, and then we go into the like the little gathering room or whatever that they have. And oh yeah, it's when the mother is doing some training with the girls. But there's more people in there too, more of the coven. And this is when the mother starts giving a speech about how the Force, they refer to the Force as the thread, right?
Yes, scissors everywhere. Yes, Bronco Fett, you are absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Everyone's scissors.
So this is where I'm seeing some complaints online because these witches refer to the Force as the thread. And she even says some people call it the Force, but we know it's a thread that holds everything together. Okay. Well, apparently now, the Force has been retconned. They've completely destroyed Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, this is why I'm glad I don't watch that shit.
Yeah.
Like, because how many other things do we know that are canon that have also not referred to the Force as the Force?
Yeah.
So many things.
Yeah.
So many things. Like shit, Thrawn. Like we know that the Navigators were using the Force.
Yeah, but they called it the Vision, I think.
Right.
Is what
They called it something completely different because that's not what they called it.
Yeah.
In real life, with different languages and different people coming from different places, they call things different things.
Yeah.
That's called reality.
Yeah. Like, just look at the difference between us and Britain, where we came from.
Oh my god.
We still use so many words and phrases that are like nothing like how they use them in jolly old England.
Yeah. Well, they fucking lost the war, so whatever they say really doesn't matter anyway.
Oh, that's 100% factual.
Yeah.
Which is I still don't understand why there are a lot of Americans out there who are obsessed with the royal family. Like didn't we fight a revolution to get away from these assholes?
Yeah, but they're not. They don't really have any power.
No, not anymore.
And honestly, they are our closest ally.
Sure. All right. Anyway,
The Brits are, but as somebody of Irish descent, they can all suck a dick.
oh,
honestly.
speaking of which, did you catch the Irish Jedi? The dude with the red hair and the red beard.
Oh yeah.
I think it's in episode 4, but I wrote that in my notes.
There's more like Germans that are redheaded than fucking Irish people.
What?
Yeah.
I call bullshit.
It's a Normannic gene. It's not a Irish thing.
Oh, okay.
It's associated with Ireland.
As it should be, as well as alcoholism.
Well, I mean that's true.
Sexy accents. Anyway, moving on. So during this training session, the girls aren't paying attention, and then the mom just uses force push practice, right? She pushes on one of the other witches that were there, knocks her back, and then the two get together, and the power of two,
right?
And they're able to block her. And then she goes to do it to the kids, and of course one of them's not paying attention, so she only force pushes with May. And then this is when the fucking Zabrak mother screams over, "Oh, I expect more from you," or something like that.
Right.
So, again, a very interesting dynamic between the girls and the mothers.
Right. They're the only kids. They're like, hey, you're supposed to be the ones that are getting ready to fucking do the ascension.
Right. And they even mention that too. Like, we're the only kids here. They come across a big power. Well, as they hear the Jedi coming in, as they were getting ready for the ascension, we walk into the room with this big power generator, and it's like, ooh, ominous. Looking at the power generator, and it looked like it was kind of in shitty condition, but yeah. So we saw that scene, no context.
Yeah.
Oh, I wrote again. I think they're trying to trick us with the girls at the tree, with or it's just shitty editing. Okay, and then once we start the ascension, this is when they actually refer to themselves as witches, part of a coven.
Right. you get the chanting, like everyone's kind of it's almost like a oh shit, I can't. No, it's gone. It's gone. Shit.
Oh, well, maybe it'll come to you.
Hive mind type thing where they're all kind of as one,
Yeah.
making the ascension happen.
Yeah, and you definitely see some similarities between them and like the Dathomir witches, but they're probably not related. Or maybe they're an offshoot that broke off from the Dathomiri like hundreds or thousands of years ago.
Yeah. Oh, you mean that hasn't happened with human beings in like real life?
Yeah.
That can't possibly.
But
happen
again, they're breaking canon
in our fictional world,
right?
That we've just made up. Like,
yeah.
Come on, guys. Come on,
buddy.
Come on, buddy. Everybody knew.
So we go to the Ascension ceremony.
I agree. I agree, Shotgun Mark. The chanting was a little cringy.
Yeah.
A little excessive.
But they're there. They're performing the Ascension. And during this, the mother mentions, we were hunted, persecuted, and forced into hiding, all because some would consider our power dark, unnatural. We were on the brink of extinction. So clearly this is not their first run-in with a Jedi.
Right. Because the Jedi obviously were like, oh, these must be Sith.
Yeah.
Because they're not using the Force the way we use the Force.
Right. So they're evil.
They're obviously evil.
So yeah, if you're not with us, you're our enemy.
Right. Absolutes.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Right.
So
that's an absolute.
And this is when we start getting the hints of like where the girls actually came from, because as she's talking about their extinction and all that, she mentions that they were blessed with a miracle, the gift of life. So you're like, okay. I'm sure we'll hear more about that soon. Throughout all of this too, like some of these early shots in the thing and during the Ascension, you get like pans up to the sky, and there's like a really cool like moon or two moons that are around it, and we got a really cool moon shot during the Ascension also.
Yeah. It reminded me, honestly, I had this like Ghostbusters kind of like look to it, the way that you had this like shimmer kind of going up. I was like waiting for some like Vigo the Carpathian just fucking show up or some shit.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. So May goes first.
Right.
She goes through the whole process and she gets the forehead tattoo.
Right.
So now we know where that symbol came from.
Right. That shows that she's ascended. Right.
And why her sister hasn't, because after that, at first Osha was hesitating. It looked like she was probably going to do it. And then here come the Jedi.
Right.
So
Jedi interrupting everything.
Yeah. So yeah, the Ascension ceremony is interrupted. They arrive, and somebody runs out and mentions that they sliced the platform. So they're not just coming to the door, knock, knock, knock. Hey, can we talk to you for a minute? No, It's like fucking hotwire the fucking door. We're going in.
Yep.
So yeah, you're already starting to see this other side of the Jedi, which we've always known is there.
Yeah.
And it's always been alluded to. Again, even going back to the prequels that everybody seems to love now.
Yeah, they're the worst. They're the worst. Aside from like a Qui-Gon who was kind of sideways looking at everybody and didn't go onto the council because it's like, yeah, you guys are all you're all missing it.
Yeah.
You're all missing what we're supposed to be.
Yeah, we're supposed to be helping people.
Right. And then, aside from this last book where everyone in the council goes and helps people, like old ladies across the street, like, we helped people.
Yeah.
We're good.
And then we're going to throw them a pizza party.
Right.
And morale is going to increase.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what's happening. And we're having a parade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So great.
The mom, like all the rest of the witches, like are immediately like fucking arming themselves.
Right.
You got like a line of them with fucking spears, and the mom's like, "Oh, weapons down." She wants no violence.
Right. Because they would get annihilated. Like, I don't think they know how to really use the Force to fucking fight.
Right.
And they don't have lightsabers or anything like that. They have spears.
Yeah.
Like, all right, spear chucking comments
I
notwithstanding,
was gonna say you watch the next words that come out of your mouth.
like, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. We're not going to be doing any spear chucking. We're just going to go ahead and wait it out. That's what they did.
Jason Roscom has.
They had spears. Chucking's a thing.
All right, whatever, man.
They didn't spear chuck.
Okay.
So therefore, they are not spear chuckers.
All right. Either way, so mother says no violence, and they meet him in like this little courtyard. The Jedi roll in.
This just in. It's been a minute, but Jason's really uncomfortable with spears and their flight, a short flight, which would be considered being chucked, otherwise known as chucking. So spear chucking is a thing.
Oh, I know it is. But also, according to Wikipedia, spear chucker or spear chucking can refer to an ethnic slur for people with African ancestry.
See, I wasn't using it like that. I was
No, you
talking-
weren't. You weren't. You were very distinctly not.
Right.
But it's, one of those things. Let's just not talk about that.
Well, do it live. Fuck it. Do it live.
Anyway, so the Jedi arrive, right? And it's the four. It's, Indara, Carrie-Ann Moss, fucking Soul, the Wookiee, and then the Padawan who was
Right.
who had the weird fake beard
Right.
in that episode where she killed him.
Right. The dude who had the fucking
Oh, and the
force
fuck up
field.
eye and yeah.
had the force field around him because he felt guilty because he killed a bunch of people.
Right. Well, we'll see. We'll see if that's indeed what happened. And Indara immediately starts mentioning like Republic law, like you could be in violation of Republic law if you're training children. And then she asks like, "Where's their father?" And the mother says, "There was no father,
Right.
or they have no father." So now we're getting more and more towards the virgin birth again,
Right.
like we have with Anakin. So, they haven't fully told us yet, but we're getting there. And then this is when Soul grabs Osha out of the crowd and like hands her his lightsaber and is telling her how great she is. And he's really sucking her non-existing dick
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
try to get her to come to the Jedi side.
Yeah. We have cookies. Like
Right,
thing.
yeah.
Like it is very like, what are you doing? What exactly is your plan here?
Yeah. Well, because this whole scene just reeks of the Jedi's corruption. Because, she also mentioned that the fucking Jedi, we have the right to fucking test kids as Jedis.
Right. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take these children.
Yeah.
And we're going to test them. And if they test positive, then we're going to take them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can fucking do about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just very blatant like that. And it's like not even trying to hide who they are or what their intentions are.
They're the Gestapo. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, it's like what the real question is like, how did it come to this?
Right.
Right? Did these years of peace that the Jedi have had, did they were so convinced that the peace that they have is because of the rules that they made
Mhm.
that you're just like, okay, these are the rules and they're impenetrable. So anyone who's a force user that's not a Jedi needs to be controlled.
Yep.
Otherwise they are bad.
Right.
They are Sith or they're just bad.
Yeah. And I think I'm not sure if this is still canon anymore, but I know that after the Old Republic era, after Bane wiped out everybody, I think the Republic passed a law that you couldn't like use the dark side of the Force, and all the whole thing, the Jedi's can test them and all that.
I'm gonna pass a law right now that says that you can't be bad.
Yeah, it's
all in favor.
It's all a point of view. All a point of view.
All right, now it's law.
Yep. And that's a lot of what this episode is. It's from somebody's point of view.
Right.
Because I guarantee you some of the stuff they showed us is not or it's some of the stuff they tried to lead us to believe is not actually what happened in
I-
this episode.
Oh, I beg to differ, but
Really?
yeah, because I really think when we get to the parts where this is when OSHA is making her decision,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
You're talking when they're testing her?
yeah, when it's all right, we're going to go ahead and let them get tested and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I think this perspective is how this is how it goes down. And then when the fires started and everything else, I mean, I wasn't. Yes, this is being told from a certain perspective, and it's really portrays what the Jedi are doing as being like super the bad guys
Yeah.
in this scenario. But I don't know how to take it any other way.
Yeah.
Like whose fucking side is going to make it look like this was supposed to be a good thing,
Right.
right? Because even I think all of them had some level of remorse about it,
Mm-hmm.
Including fucking Trinity.
Yeah.
You know, and it was blatantly obvious with the fucking kid that homegirl freezes. You know, like I don't know if you remember, like
Oh, when they like trance the one guy?
yeah, the Padawan.
Yeah.
Like basically, like okay, we'll release your Padawan, but you're gonna have to fucking
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like you're gonna have to go ahead and pack your shit up and leave.
Yeah. And then of course after all that resolves, they finally agree to let the girls be tested, and as the Jedi are leaving, fucking Indara looks back and is like, "We appreciate your cooperation."
Yeah,
And it's like, fuck. That's so messed up.
yeah. It like you were talking about how this is like a mystery.
Yeah.
And it really this is like it's playing out like it's a cop drama, but the cops are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cops they're the Gestapo, and they're pulling children from their homes.
Mm-hmm.
Like how is the Jedi? How are they making more Jedi? They're going and this has been an underlying theme throughout. Like, how did Obi-Wan and all of these other Padawans, like, they don't remember their
families.
Their families. I mean, they have some recollection of where they were from, but for the most part, they're so young that they don't have any connection at all with where they came from because they were grabbed young.
Yep. And like literally, I don't think I can remember much before I was, say, 5 years old.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 4, like probably.
So anyway, so they could have a very skewed up opinion, but yeah, no, like she says that as they're leaving, I'm like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it just the Jedi are proving throughout this entire thing that they suck.
Yeah.
They're not the good guys.
Yeah, and so they go to their council, and well, before that, we get another scene with the mothers talking, and this is where Anastasia says, or no, Coral says, "I carried them," and then Anastasia says, "I created them."
Right.
So she's the one that went and
Right.
Impregnated the other girl.
Yeah, she did. She pulled a Plagueis.
Yeah,
Right. She used Plagueis's force ability.
right. Which this is like the number one thing that people have the biggest problem with in this episode is the fact that there is another force birth where it's like, Anakin was supposed to be the only one you could do this, and blah, blah, blah. And it completely negates the chosen one and all that. I'm like, does it really? Yeah, it's
I don't. So let's talk about that for a second.
yeah.
So
Well-
you have these witches, and let's say that these witches come upon they have a bunch of spell books, and one of them is a book nerd, and comes across this spell. It's like, hey, this spell says that there's power within the force or the thread or whatever to be able to create life. And they're like, oh, really? Like, well, what do we have to do? And it's like, well, here's the thing. You have to be like really, really strong in the, in this particular part of it, and then you have to do these things. Like,
Right.
You have to manipulate these things. Like, okay, yeah, I'm strong enough to do that.
Yeah.
And then they go for it.
Yeah.
And they do it. Like, what's the difference between that happening and then Plagueis teaching his Padawan the ability to do it?
Right, because at the end of the day, the Force, and I'm pretty sure this is canon, the Force has existed in some organized fashion for like 10,000 years. So you think in all that time, somebody else isn't going to figure out like, oh,
well,
you're pregnant.
I mean, if the Force exists just existing. Like the Force just exists, right? It's a living. It's the idea of it existing, the manipulation of the Force, and people recognizing that some people can do it.
Yeah,
is something that is thousands of years old.
Yeah,
like it's that recognition of, okay, there's people or humanoids or whatever that can use the Force to their advantage or whatever.
Yeah.
They can actually use the Force.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? So I agree with you that the witches or whoever it is, like if this is written down in a fucking, in a book somewhere, the sacred texts or wherever, then who's to say that if they're powerful enough to fucking pull it off, that they don't pull it off?
Right.
Right.
Which, and again, this is potentially the time of Darth Plagueis. So, how do we know that one of these bitches didn't teach him this ability?
Or he read it out of the same book. It was something that they had in their fucking texts, and then he came across it when he was studying something else.
Sure.
I mean, that's how a lot of this stuff gets passed around.
The sacred texts.
Right. Where's that drop at? What page is that drop?
Oh, it's
like
remember. Number 2.
But I mean, maybe Plagueis couldn't do it, and Palpatine couldn't do it because they couldn't do the scissoring. Maybe they didn't have the sacred Jedi scissoring to be able to do.
Okay.
Or the sacred witch scissoring.
Yeah.
That makes it happen.
And the interesting thing about that too is
maybe you have to scissor from like this incredible height, and he just falls and just like Wilhelm scream like
yeah, but like where
there's this like huge or like this it's like a sucking sound.
I'm trying to actually talk here, but he's not letting me.
Well, I'm just trying to like picture what the sound is like, if like this incredible height.
It would probably hurt like fuck. Yeah, both women would probably be in a lot of pain.
Well, they're using the Force. Like Metachlorians will fucking keep them from dying.
So the Force enables enjoyable lesbian sex.
Sure.
Yeah.
Probably in the aphrodisiac. Or maybe she's like catapult. It's like flying through the air and but it has to be like this certain, like the spell says, okay, you have to be a certain distance away, and if it has to be a direct shot, and like she's flying through the air and misses. They have to load her back up into the fucking cannon and shoot her again. Like, yeah! And it like, gets caught on her leg. You're like, oh my god! No.
Where do you come up with this shit?
I don't know. It's in my head.
So anyway, I was trying to make a point. It's interesting that the daughters bared no resemblance to the Zabrak mother who carried them.
Right.
And it was all the appearance and everything of the mother who created them.
Right.
So she was just acting like a surrogate, essentially.
Yeah, basically.
So yeah, it's just interesting because if you thought that maybe they have parts of both, like they might have small horns or whatever, but
Nothing.
no, complete
surrogate, like you said. Yeah, I agree.
Yep. So so this is when one of the old witches suggests that they that they just failed this test on purpose. And this is when we got the line. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
Right.
So, what?
Chris says he votes for Dave to write the next Star Wars project. I'm in.
All right.
We're going to have catapults.
Scissor catapults. Oh God, I don't know what's going
Make
on.
a great T-shirt. Just like have the scissors flying like in midair like this. How to make Force babies, and just have the two scissors flying through the air. Have no context whatsoever.
So that's what you do. Picture of two scissors,
Right.
and then just how to make a Force baby.
Right. It's just scissors.
And then it's just like, if you know, you know.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, that's good. Whew. Okay. When OSHA arrives to be tested, like as soon as she goes in, the first thing they do is take a blood sample, right? Because we've got to know the midichlorian count, which, by the way, we never got. Like, the audience was never told. So we have no idea if she had high or low midichlorians, because that'd be another thing. If we want to compare this to Anakin, like, did they have a fucking off the charts midichlorian count as him, or are they just average in force wielding ability? The fuck was that?
It was a Jawa.
Well, I heard the Jawa. Yeah, I'm just like, what? Why am I hearing a Jawa right now? Who said that?
Vickers.
Oh God, we can't show it on screen because we'd very likely get kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah, a trebuchet. Trebuchet?
I don't know what that means.
The what they're launching one woman off of. Trebuchet. It's the big fucking
catapult.
Catapult.
We can just call it a catapult. That's fine. We don't need to get into the details.
Perfect. Has to make the noise at the end, though. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
That's what got me this time, was the noise. Okay. All right. I'm going to try to compose myself and continue on with this episode. After the blood sample, Coral takes an angry May for a walk, and, they're talking, and May's kind of like telling her about, like OSHA and how she's, says she doesn't want to be a witch and all this other stuff.
Right.
And then Anastasia says that she would talk to the others and consider her wish to be a Jedi. I think this was after her test, because we had a whole thing where they were told to fail the test. May did. OSHA just couldn't do it.
Right.
And she had to be honest on this thing.
Right. And they knew to fail the test.
Yeah.
They knew.
Well, yeah, and the Jedi knew that May was failing on purpose. Well, they knew that they both were. So anyway, yeah, and at this point too, this is when OSHA comes back from her test and tells her mom that I want to be a Jedi, and that's when the mom said, "Okay, I'll meet with the others and we'll consider letting you go."
Right.
So, which probably means like no fucking chance.
Yeah, exactly.
We've been, what's the word? Oh my God. Whatever. We've been letting them, give us their spiel, and we've been playing along, but at the end of the day, we're never going to let you take either of these girls.
Right. We've been leading them on, but in reality, no fucking way.
Yeah. And then this is when the girls go back to the room, and May's fucking pissed, and OSHA's like, "No, I'm going," and
packing her shit up.
Yeah, and she's like, "May, you can't stop me from leaving." And she's like, "Oh, I can kill you."
Yeah.
So
She goes immediately to murder.
Yep. And she snatches that art book out of fucking OSHA's hand, like goes outside, closes the door, and burns the art book.
Right.
Which is the last time we see May in this scene. So we never see her actually starting a fire on the door or anything like that. So I know that they're trying to lead us to believe that, after she burned the book, she just like fucking threw it down and everything burned. I do not believe that is what happened at all.
Mm-hmm.
Just my opinion, but
Right.
I'm like, there's no fucking way that that's what happened, because as we said before, May is more into OSHA than OSHA is into May. So, if she cared about her that much, she wouldn't try to kill her for real. I'm sure it was just an empty threat. And OSHA, turns around, fucking the whole front of the room is on fire now, and she's got to take like a secret exit. She's got to hotwire this fucking door and take this little secret exit through the sewers or whatever. Then you hear, as she's walking through, she looks up and she can see flashing lights through a grate, and you hear the witches like screaming, right? Like they're being killed.
Right.
You don't see what's going on. You just hear it. She keeps going. She comes across the big fucking generator, which is where May is. May saying, "You did this," and OSHA saying, "You did this." They're each on either side of a platform when the fucking thing just explodes. They both fall down, and Soul happens to appear at the right time because he must have already been in the temple.
Right.
Wonder what he was doing.
Yeah. Why are you there all of a sudden?
Yeah. And he goes and this is where he sees May die, where he sees her fall down into the chasm, and he saves OSHA. So, I lost my place. Before the thing exploded, May tells OSHA that their mom is dead, and then she falls. Soul grabs OSHA, and then we see the dead bodies. They go through the big meeting chamber or whatever, and it's like a bunch of dead witches.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking
all in one pile.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah, well, they go into the next room, and there's more witches in there. One of them being the mother, Anastasia, or whatever her name is.
Anesia.
Yes.
Anastasia.
Yes, that's what I said. I said it. Anastasia. One thing about this, though,
Propofol,
is there is no visible sign of like lightsaber cuts, blaster fire, anything, right? They're all just fucking dead with no context, like no way to tell.
Right.
They weren't killed in the fucking explosion of that generator. There's no
Right.
fucking way, because we heard them screaming before that happened. So something killed these bitches, and it might not have been by lightsaber. So something else to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we got the visual evidence that the mom dies.
So why don't you think that May could have killed everyone?
I mean, I'm sure that's a possibility. I don't think it is, though. I think it's the master, like the main villain, is the one who somehow rolled in there and killed them all. But somehow the Jedi had something to do with it. Otherwise, they wouldn't feel as guilty as they do.
Right. Well, I mean, them showing up and creating this whole interference,
Yeah.
and separating the two children, like that could also be the guilt. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate.
Sure.
I think this is the feint that they're doing in the story. That's obviously, hopefully has something bigger.
Yeah, because if this doesn't have some big twist that like brings it all together, that's going to be really disappointing.
But they also gave us that May has the ability to, like, she was getting ready to force choke or force kill through squeezing that fucking bug at the tree. Right. So we know that it's out there.
Yeah.
Like, she can reach out and she can do it.
Oh yeah. Because
to that scale, mean, who knows? I mean, if she like fully, like now that she's the one who's been through the ascension, so we don't know what her capabilities are
Right.
using essentially the dark side or whatever the witch powers are.
Yeah. Well, part of my theory about, the final twist, which again, I'll save most of it for the end, is that the person who saved May was probably, or she was probably saved by the evil master that we haven't seen yet. Because like he was there somehow associated with the witches, either through like a cordial alliance, or he was working for them, or they were working for him. That we don't know, but I feel like the master was involved and he was there when this incident happened, and he might have been the one to fucking stop May from falling in.
Interesting.
Just a theory. So anyway, moving on. Reactor. Yeah, no obvious signs of saber marks. Okay, this is also where Soul tells fucking Osha that it was her sister that started the fire. Like, he's just like, nope, your sister burned it all down. It's like, I don't trust what you're saying right now.
Yeah, you're drawing on assumption.
Yeah.
I truly believe that Soul thinks that that's what's happened.
Sure, yeah.
I think he believes that.
Okay.
Whether that's the reality or not is something completely different.
I definitely don't think it's the reality. But yeah, he could just be as ignorant as the rest of us about what really happened.
I think that his thing, he's kind of like that, that Qui-Gon in a way. It's like, okay, I'm in this for like, oh, if we're going to be bringing children in, then we should be bringing them of their own will.
Sure.
And so I'm reaching out to them with candy to bring them into the fucking van, as opposed to putting a bag over their head and fucking just throwing them in.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, what the Jedi would rather have done. That being said, I mean, is he innocent of everything that had happened there? Probably not, but
because he feels just as guilty as the others.
Sure.
So something still happened that made the Jedi feel like, oh, we fucked that up. Yeah. So
we'll save Bronco Fett's comment for when you give your thing.
Okay. And then the episode actually ends with May going back to the yellow tree, because that's where she found Osha at the very beginning of the episode. She goes back thinking, oh, maybe she'll be there. Maybe she's alive and she'll be there.
That's where they usually meet up when they separate.
Yep. And she wasn't there. May has a disappointed look on her face, and that's the end of the episode.
Right.
So
disappointed, not because she just killed everyone.
Right. So let's put the controversies to bed on this episode. Because again, this is the episode that had so many of these fucking talking heads riled up between the lesbian couple,
Don't care.
the forced birth.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I'm seeing online are still like so dedicated to the Jedi. They're like, they're making the Jedi look like they're evil.
I'll tell you, that particular thing is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, that tells me that you're not watching Star Wars.
Yeah.
I don't know what Star Wars you're watching, because even maybe if you're only watching the sequel trilogy, you get that, because the Jedi don't have any, like, they don't have any stance in anything, because there's no fucking Jedi.
Right, and same with the original trilogy, for that matter. There's no organized Jedi. You see 3 fucking Force users, and then Vader too.
Right.
In the whole fucking thing, you see Luke, fucking Obi-Wan, and Yoda. The only, good Force users that we see in the original trilogy.
But if you're going based on the fucking prequels, the hubris of the Jedi is fucking
it's on full display.
It's reeks the entire fucking reeks. I'm using it in an inappropriate way, but it just, the whole fucking prequels reeks of it.
Yeah, and it's very obvious too. It's not like some subtle thing that George was trying to like put in there. It's like, no, they even admit at one point, like, oh, we fucked up. Or oh, we can't do
what
this.
Mace is, when Anakin shows back up and says, hey, fucking Palpatine's the guy, and Mace is like, fuck, yeah, we're all right. We're gonna go take care of this, and
Take care of him.
yeah, and if what you say is true, then you'll have gained my trust. And like they know as it's getting towards something like, man, we're really missing this.
Mm-hmm.
We're missing what's going on,
Yeah.
and it's that hubris that has gotten them to this point. Like, okay, yeah, we are all knowing. We're the fucking the cops of the fucking galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
and or the Gestapo of the fucking galaxy, and anyone who's wielding the Force that's not us is obviously the bad guy.
Yep.
And now we're at a point where you just can't blindly think that, like, oh, the Jedi can only be betrayed as just these ultra good.
Right.
All these people that put Jedi as their religion on their fucking dog tags, like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, like, but that's an ideal,
Yeah.
just like Christianity is a fucking ideal. And how many billions of people have died in the fucking name of Christianity?
Quite a
Like,
lot.
it's, or millions. I don't know about billions, but there's only been what, 10 billion people in existence.
Really? Because don't we have like
Well, no, that's not
five
right.
now?
No, there's 8. There's like 8 billion people on the planet right
Yeah.
now.
So there's been a hell of a lot more humans than 10.
The
All
way
right. To Google.
Yeah.
let's do it live.
Maybe it's 30 billion.
Okay.
I don't think it's more than
How
that.
many humans total have lived on Earth?
30 billion is what I'm going with.
The current estimate is 80 to 117 billion.
Eh.
But, that just goes to show again, like, how many different people are just on one fucking planet, and people that have extremely different ideas about life and how, government should be structured and, all of that. So then you think about it on a galactic scale, right? How many fucking stars are in the Milky Way? Like 100 billion? Or is it 100 million?
I'm still hung up on the number of people.
How many stars are
I don't
in
think there's
the
been that many
Milky
people.
Way? What, you saying Google is wrong? Okay, yeah, 100 billion. I was right. So, you think in a galaxy where life is so abundant, that somebody else, like, half the fucking galaxy away knows something that you might not, or believes something that you don't. Still not convinced?
Nah.
All right, well, let's get to episode 4 then.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, episode 4 is called Day, which, I guess that makes sense. And it starts on Kofar, which is where the Wookiee Jedi Kelnaka is. And oh my god. So it starts off with like a 1-minute scene of him fucking cooking in his kitchen. And I could only think about the holiday special. Like this fucking stir whip. I'm like, they had to have done this on purpose.
Whip, stir, stir, whip.
Like
stir.
literally, there was one scene where he was like doing both. And I'm like, they had to have put this in on purpose just for the holiday special reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no fucking way they didn't do that. And then we go back to Coruscant, and this is when we see the Irish Jedi, the guy with the red hair and the red beard. Fuck, I was waiting for somebody to call him Master Kenobi.
Who is Scottish, not Irish.
It's all the same. Oh, and this is when Osha comes in because she wanted to talk to the girl. What's the fucking girl's name? The girl with the horns and the. God damn it! I had Jackie. Yeah.
Okay.
He went to see, or she went to see Jackie to say goodbye, and I'm already getting like lesbian vibes from these two. Like,
oh yeah, they're obvious. They're kind of hitting on each other a little bit.
Yeah, but I thought the girl was supposed to be like a lot younger than.
Well, she's a Padawan.
Yeah.
But they're both. Yeah.
Like I don't see her in her 20s, even. But whatever. Yeah.
Hey man, aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different civilizations have their own perceptions.
Right.
Of...
Exactly. Their age of consent it might be a little bit less. Who knows? She could come from the Alabama of fucking of planets.
New Jersey's thing is lower than most states.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's 17. You know how I know that? The age of consent?
How?
When the Jets drafted that quarterback in like the mid 2000s, what was his name? He immediately started for them, and they even won their opening game against the Patriots, which is the
2000.
The mid 2000s. Probably like
shit.
Actually, no, it might have been like closer to 2010. He had a Hispanic name. Mark Sanchez? Mark Sanchez. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. All right. So Sanchez, I gotcha.
What was I talking about before that? The age of consent. Right. So because I saw a fucking article about him and how he was fucking, breaking the law, and he was fucking, has a relationship with a teenager, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, are they putting him in jail? Like, what's going on? And then towards the bottom of the article, it says, Battle Droid fell. At the bottom of the article, it was, technically in New Jersey, having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old is allowed, as the age of consent is that. But they put that in like little fucking detail at the very end of the article, as they're like trashing him for dating a 17-year-old.
Sensationalizing that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like he dated a 17-year-old. I saw the article about it. That's how I knew. I'm not looking up age of consent for gross reasons. I swear to God, I'm not a pervert. Sorry, lost my place again.
Rule 34, the butt fumble.
Yeah. So yeah, Osha and Jackie are talking, and Osha tells her like she doesn't want to be involved in the apprehension of May at all. Right. She's like, I'm not even going with you guys. I'm just going back to my fucking job, and y'all can suck a dick.
Right.
Like, I want nothing to do with that. Now, to me, that seemed like a little bit odd. You just found out that your twin sister, who you thought was dead for the last 16 years, is suddenly alive, and you don't want to go and maybe try to get some answers, or, maybe like talk to your sister again for the first time in 16 years.
So, all right, you're around the Jedi right now, and you know that they're going to apprehend her because she's murdered these other Jedi. And you've already had a chance to catch her once.
Right.
And you missed on purpose.
Yeah, and then she even admitted it after the fact.
So, honestly, I thought that this wasn't out of character at all. I thought this was like, she knows that she can't deal with it. And, probably for all this time, however many years we're talking about, 16 years.
16 years, because they were 8 during the flashback, then 16 years passed, so they're technically 24.
Right. So 16 years have passed, and now, like, she at some point had to come to terms with the fact that, as she knew it, her sister killed everyone she knew.
Yeah.
Right. The idea that she'd be going to apprehend and put in that situation again. She was already in that situation once, and she fucking shot and missed.
Yeah.
On purpose. No, she doesn't want to be put in that situation again.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
it made sense to me.
I guess it just, to me, it seemed a little out of character, or at least a little bit out of what a normal person would probably want to do in that situation. But who the hell knows?
I mean, I'd be like, all right, I'll hang out here, and you guys go and bring her back here.
Yeah. Oh, sidebar. Okay, so I meant to tell you this before. So the actress that plays May and Osha, Amanda Samberg or whatever, I think she's cute as fuck. She's really, really cute. Oh, and she's been naked in a couple of movies. So
really,
you get to see all of her. And she got a killer body too.
Fair enough.
We might have to redo our top 5 hottest chicks in Star Wars. topic
Mm.
with everything that we've gotten now, because I think we started that before even the Mandalorian. I don't even know if the prequels were done or the sequels were done when we did that episode.
Yeah, when the hell did we do that?
I think it was fairly early in the show. But either way, like, we should probably do an updated 2024 edition, and she's probably in my top 5.
Spoiler alert. Jeez.
Sorry. Anyway, back to the show. So she doesn't want to be involved, and then we flash back to May and Kamir, the alchemist guy. And of course, first of all, they're in a beat-ass looking ship. Like, they must have, like, robbed it from a poor person. And this is where...
That's what you went with? Poor person?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Must
the
have
ship...
robbed it from a poor person.
Yeah, they didn't rob it from a rich person because it looks like shit.
I think it's funny.
Yeah. And of course, this whole time... Now, let's talk about this for a second, because the Kamir guy...
Uh-huh.
It seems to me that they were very obviously trying to make us believe that he's the bad guy that we saw at the end. Like, would you agree with that?
I mean, I think that they're leaving context clues to try and lead you to that.
See, I think they're very blatant in this. And
I mean, I guess it could be considered blatant.
And I even mentioned this after we watched episode 2, that the way he was acting around Osha when she came into the shop seemed very dark and suspicious. So, I mean,
I think it's more so that when they he was saying things in the shop that he had details that seems like only the master would have known.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so he was like intimate details.
Yep.
Is that a mosquito? Do you see that?
I saw it fly
No,
over there.
on the fucking monkey lizard, on the blue monkey lizard on your computer.
I can't see anything.
He's there.
Okay.
I'm going to flick it.
Sure.
And it's going to shoot the monkey lizard at you. Oh, he moved. Fuck. Going to land on you.
Yeah. So, okay, to me, it seemed like that they were trying to make it obvious that he was the bad guy, because he's doing this act where he's like a bumbling idiot and he's saying stupid stuff, but then, he's very intent on keeping her on track, helping her wherever she needs it, and reminding her over and over again, oh, you told the master that you would kill a Jedi without a weapon, so you got to do it.
Yeah, I'm what is happening?
Yeah.
I agree that his role is super ambiguous, and they are trying to give us, like, hey, his role seems ambiguous, but he could be this guy.
Yeah. So, and, initially for the longest time, I thought he was. But then after I watched this, and I watched the bumbling idiot routine, and I watched her, trap him in a snare, I'm like, no, he's not the master. They're making it. They're giving too many clues.
I don't think the snare thing is a giveaway, because he could have let himself get caught in the fucking snare. I mean, that's
what I'm saying. Like, he probably let himself get caught in the snare, and hung there like a bumbling idiot, like, oh, cut me down, and then all of a sudden we don't see him again, and then boom, Sith guy shows up.
right.
So I really feel like they are intentionally trying to make us think that it's him, and they're going to do a fucking double cross, and they're going to swerve us with something else. And that is my theory, which again, I'll talk about after this episode.
All right.
But in your opinion, you don't think they were making it very obvious that he's the guy?
I think that that's what they're trying to get us to go. I don't know that it's so obvious they're punching us in the face with it, but I think that's where they're trying to get us to think.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Like I said.
Well, but again,
if we're overthinking it, for Star Wars fans that are overthinking it, then of course that's what they were overthinking, that particular thing.
Yeah. But now I'm completely convinced that he is not the master. And this was a sort of red herring.
Maybe that's what they want you to do. Maybe they want you to be like, this is too obvious, so it's got to be a red herring. But in reality, they wanted you to think it was a red herring because this is what really is happening.
Right.
Clever fucks.
Okay, and then we get another thing that drove people fucking crazy, because we go into like a little meeting chamber in the Jedi Temple, and fucking Ki-Adi-Mundi is there.
Right.
And again, oh, they broke canon. He's not supposed to be here. He said that the Sith have been extinct for a millennia and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, let's slow down. First of all, it's already in canon that he is a long-lived species.
Right.
Like even in that Living Force book, they mentioned multiple times how he was a long-lived species. He was around like 100, 200 years ago when some event happened at that planet. So shut the fuck up about that, first of all. And then the whole, the Sith have been extinct for a millennia. Okay, that's all fair and good, but we don't know what he knows about this, because he wasn't one of the guys on the planet. Like,
right.
like the line of Jedis when they ignite their lightsabers, he's not there. So he could have just been back at the ship. And we don't know what the fuck's going to happen between, the end of the last episode and when we see Ki-Adi-Mundi again. So, there's many possible explanations for this. My theory is, he's going to think that this was just some dark side user that the witches were using and that it wasn't a Sith. But either way, they've got several ways out of this. And they wouldn't have put him in this if they hadn't already thought about that. They've got the fucking, the story group. Fucking Dave Filoni is now the head of creative, and he knows fucking everything. So there's no way they would have done this. Oh, let's put Ki-Adi-Mundi in this, because it won't interfere with anything.
You guys are giving him a lot of credit for thinking.
So you don't think that's the case? You think they were just like, oh, let's have this guy. He was on the council before. And didn't know, about his line of dialogue or any of that.
No, well, that part. I don't think that this is it just happenstance that he's there and they're not going to use him for something. Like, he's in this for a reason.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that this has nothing to do with. They don't know that it's a Sith.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like,
and
just because he's got a red lightsaber doesn't mean he's part of the Sith order that used to be around.
And honestly, the level of hubris of the fucking Jedi, we're talking, this is centuries, right?
Well, this is 100 years before.
All right, so it's a century.
Yeah.
So in 100 years of, the council being the preeminent fucking thing, and him sitting up there going, do you not have water?
I do. It's this vitamin C tablet that Kristen gave me. If you chew it, it is like the most sour thing you'll ever taste. Like, worse than Sour Patch Kids.
Then why do you chew it?
Because it tastes good.
Couldn't tell that from your face.
It was just sour, that's all. But sour stuff can still be enjoyable.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Sour Patch Kids, I got you, but...
Yep. Anyway, what were you saying?
I don't remember.
Mundi.
Yeah, when he was there, when he popped up, I'm like, okay, I see he's there. Still don't know why people are worked up yet. Maybe later, maybe tomorrow, I'll understand why people are worked up.
Yeah.
My issue is he didn't need to be there.
No, not at all.
Like, we don't. I said in the beginning of this, before the show even started, like before the Acolyte came out, it's having a show that is completely outside of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, completely. No links at all.
Tell a separate story.
Yeah.
And you don't have to link it.
Yeah, you don't need the cheap cameos, to appease the nerds. Because when you do that, instead they go fucking ape shit and they complain about it.
Yeah, I would much rather have you're telling us a story that I'm rolling with because this is original. Like this is an original story. There's nothing for me to bounce it off of. But now you've introduced a character that's in the Skywalker era
Mm-hmm.
that I'm now going to have to pay attention to see about what is going on with the canon.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, it's yes. Can you pull it off? Sure. Can you pull it off clean? That's the question.
Right. And we'll
this
see.
This is the biggest question. Like, you put this trust in Filoni that they've thought about and everything else. Like, I'm still not convinced that they're going to pull off the fucking shit with Thrawn.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, I don't. I really don't. I think that they've painted themselves into a fucking corner, and they're going to have to fuck something up.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't see them getting themselves out of it.
And it'll probably be the novels. It'll probably be stuff like the Bloodline novel, the one about Leia.
Honestly, I don't give a shit about the novels. I think that they're going to there's going to be damage. There's going to be some fucking damage that they're going to do. I just don't see how they get out of it. And good luck. I mean, I have doubts. I have serious doubts to their ability to get out of it because of how they've decided to go with the story.
Yeah.
And so my faith in their contextual ability to fucking do these things is shaken. So I don't take that stuff for granted that they've thought about that.
Okay. Well, and again, we've got 4 episodes to go, so who knows what they'll do to possibly address that. But let's not belabor this anymore. Vanestra shows up, the green bald chick, and she mentions that May has probably been trained by a former Jedi or a Jedi, which is an interesting theory.
Okay.
And also, you know, as they're talking about this and like 2 of the fucking Jedi are dead, you know, we got to go capture this bitch. And okay, we should go tell the council, right? And she's like, no, we're going to leave the council out of this and we're just going to handle this ourselves.
Yeah, that's like, huh.
Yeah.
Really? Because that doesn't seem fucking sketchy.
Yeah, because you're basically trying to cover something up at this point. So
don't tell my boss. Let's just go. Now it's turned into like a CIA thing. That's a CIA op.
Right.
Like, all right, this op went really, really bad. So we're going to go ahead and take care of it. If you had seen the Jason Bourne movies, this reeks of a Jason Bourne plot.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't know. So, she wants to hide it from the Jedi Council. Her makeup looks terrible in this. I know this was another complaint I saw online, which I kind of, buy into a little bit because, like, there's a big part of, like, her cheek that's, like, flesh colored. Like, the green it looked like the green had kind of melted off a little bit.
Mm.
It looked off, like, the normal makeup lady had the flu. So they had to bring in like a stand-in.
All right.
But again, that has nothing to do with the overall plot, but it is something that people are complaining about online. So
I mean, that's fair. It's a TV show. It's not the movie.
Yeah. And then she also mentions like she feels like that this is part of something bigger than just, these witches and what happened to these girls 16 years ago. She feels like it's a bigger plot going on, which, I mean, obviously she's right.
Yeah. But, and again, it's like, all right, your decision to not bring the council into it now, it's called into question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, again, those of you who've seen the Bourne movies, right? So this is all right, this is fucked up. So you're trying to, like, cover up the decisions you've already made to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
So that train does not sound healthy.
I think that's a plane.
Oh, you think that was like the flap
That's
extension?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
The flap extension. Dude, that sounded terrible.
Yeah. Let's hope it's not a plane.
Fucking hell, man.
Speaking of which, what's up with your boys over at Boeing, man?
Dude.
They are getting fucking raked over the coals.
Sidebar. The fact that Starliner is still attached.
That's crazy.
To the fucking thing. Boeing can't get out of its own way right now.
Yeah.
And you would think that with this level of fuckery going on, like there's some interesting thing happening just in aerospace right now. You have Boeing with its quality assurance issues. You have their space division is not doing well with space stuff.
Clearly, yeah.
The defense stuff seems to be fine, but that's like
we finally got the 46s after a 20-year delay.
Nah, that's still aerospace in my mind because it's the same QA people.
Okay.
Like I'm talking about missiles and shit like that. But and then you have like just aviation in general, where you have airplanes that are, descending. They're in descent profiles, fucking 4,000. They're descending to fucking 1,800 feet, 9 miles short of the runway.
Yeah,
and having to go around, and there's some basic things that aren't happening. There's some basic attention to detail things that aren't happening.
Yeah,
and as somebody who's trying to, as part of my thesis is incorporating AI into like single pilot operations. And pilots right now aren't doing a good job of being two pilots, let alone making it one pilot and having AI as a co-pilot.
Yeah, the Air France is a perfect example of that.
Which Air France?
The one that went into the Atlantic.
Well, that was.
But it was a series of events that the two human beings at the controls could not make sense of.
Yeah.
And they got themselves killed for it.
Well, yeah, that was a pedostatic issue that they really should have had a better handle on.
Yeah.
But like things like descending too early or fucking almost flying into the tower, which happened recently.
Yeah, I saw.
Shit like that. It's attention to detail stuff, and it kind of goes along with this other corporate thing, like QA, like our quality assurance division is like our cybersecurity divisions. Like we're only putting money into it when something fails,
right,
and dealing with the aftermath. The government right now is accepting contracts that have 75% solutions, right? That's part of their mantra. They call it agile development, right? And agile development, what it is that, okay, if I have some software, I'm going to give you this software knowing that it's buggy and it's got issues and everything else, but you're going to make it work and get it to 100%.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you a 75% product. Now, what they don't factor in when they give us that 75% product is now that the man hours and the what it's going to take for me as the employee or the GI, the blue suitor, to have to fucking manipulate that system to make it work to what we need it to do, on top of making making the mission happen.
Yeah.
You're handing me garbage. You're getting paid for a full contract, but you're handing me garbage. And the expectation is that I'm going to make it work.
Right.
And somehow this is how we're supposed to go forward.
Yeah, because again, how are they, paying for this and
agile development? Like I sat in a fucking Teams meeting where this was stated and explained to me from at the fucking acquisition level for Headquarters Air Force. Otherwise, I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
So it is with aerospace, it is with government, it is with everywhere. It's across the board. There's we need to be, again, it turns into the focus of what are we paying attention to?
Right.
Right? Let's pay attention to the things that fucking matter. Quality assurance, attention to detail, training, the quality of the training, the quality of the pilot training. How many hours are we giving to pilots? Because we have this pilot shortage. Like, we're ripping pilots through fucking pilot training right now.
Really?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh God, that's fucking scary.
Oh yeah, you can get a pilot right now that would come out of UPT, and instead of doing a full sim and then go into the aircraft, they would have an abbreviated sim, or have no sim and go right to like T1s, or not. They won't do like the T6. They would skip the T6 and go right to the T1. So they won't get any of the like spin training or anything like that in the T6. They'll go right to the T1. So they're not getting acrobatics and anything like that, or the formation stuff. They're just doing like basically CRM stuff in the T1, flying multi-engine.
Yeah, that's
it.
scary.
And then even with the T6 stuff, they're doing a lot of simulator training, which would be great if they were full up. You're talking category D sims where you can do everything, but then you have to get the simulators up to this. So
it won't be long before they just hand them a copy of Flight Simulator, Microsoft Flight Sim, and be like, "All right, this is your training. Go fly a plane,
dude." If you have the display, like if you have the appropriate displays, Microsoft Flight Simulator is adequate to fucking. It's pretty fucking.
Really?
It's pretty there.
Okay.
If you can display it properly, like you can give yourself an environment where you can operate an aircraft in a realistic environment.
Okay. Anyway, let's move past the Boeing stuff and get back to the episode.
It's your fault. You brought it up.
Yeah, no, it's that is my fault. So we're going back and forth between. Actually, did I mention? Oh, first, Saul convinces OSHA to go with them. He, begs and pleads and says, "Oh, you need this," and blah, 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 blah. And then there was a funny line where she's like, "All right, but I'm not wearing one of those civilian robes." Immediately flashes to her wearing one of the civilian robes with a very disappointed look on her face.
Yes.
Yeah, which was pretty funny. They mentioned how they've had no contact with Kelnaka for over a year. So he's been like off the grid for a year. Just, doing his thing.
And his crash ship just fucking...
Yeah, this is my home now. Yeah. But I mean, if anybody could do it, it's a Wookiee. It's a heavily forested area. I'm sure they're skilled hunters, so he could do it. We also get, as we're on the ship, and they're having this conversation, it pans over, and you very distinctly see a Plo Koon-like character. There's nothing that I've seen that makes me think that it's Plo Koon. I looked at IMDb to see if they listed the actor and the character name that he played. There is no mention of him there. I went to Plo Koon's Wikipedia page, and I looked at that, and there's no mention of him, existing during this time. So I'm guessing it's just another person from his species, but goddamn, they look fucking identical.
Well, I mean, he's an older species also, I thought.
I know they dropped 3 of on us with the book. So yeah, I can't remember who all was, but anyway, it seemed very obvious to me that was Plo Koon, but probably not.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't. Bronco Fett says it's just another Keldor.
Okay. Which I'm assuming that's Plo Koon's species. Okay. Then we get to another thing that all the people complained about. So they're still on the ship. OSHA's sitting there in her civilian suit, and this fucking man dog comes right up to her and starts sniffing her, right?
Oh, yeah.
She freaks out, and she goes up to fucking her lesbian girlfriend, and is like, "Yo, what's up with that thing?" Or he or they or whatever it is. And then the girl explains to her that he's a fucking their tracker. And people went fucking crazy because she said, "Is it he or they or?" And that's it. Yeah, because she didn't know. She didn't know what fucking species it was. She didn't know if they were a single gender species or not, or whatever. So she didn't make any assumptions. So she's just like, is it a he, they? And it was very, very quick. Like, not pushing any kind of fucking pronoun agenda at all.
I agree. It wasn't pushing an agenda, but it was a deliberate. Like, you wrote this into the script as a, like,
Probably like a little nod
yeah,
to the whole pronoun conversation.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think
But it was a, I don't. Contextually, it was accurate to okay,
and that's what
that-
I'm saying.
it
Like-
was contextually appropriate,
Yeah,
but you didn't have to do it.
sure.
They did it, but you didn't have to do it,
Right.
Which is fine. And I didn't give a shit about it.
Exactly.
But
Me either.
it's one of those things where did you have to do that? No. Did you do it? Fine. I don't care. Like, it didn't move my needle at all.
Yeah.
You could have said something else.
Yeah, it was so innocuous, but again, these fucking online people are
Like-
like, "Oh my god, they're using other pronouns in Star
Could
Wars."
you
and-
imagine? Could you? Oh man, I would love to put these people. I would love to do. If I had the time.
You drive to each one of their houses,
No.
kick the shit out of them?
No. There's so much there's so much better things to do with people than just beat them up.
Okay.
Like just to fuck with people mentally, like so that they can't, I don't know, live in their own houses anymore because they just can't be comfortable. I mean, that's one thing.
Yeah. So I don't know where you were going with that, but
Anyway, no, what I was saying was the fuck. Where was I going with that?
Well-
God damn it.
well, we
Jason.
were talking about the man dog, he or they, and I'm gonna just move on if you don't have anything else to say about that.
Fucking hell.
All right, so the Jedi get to
Man, I don't
Kofar,
remember.
and they land, and now we've got like dueling parties, right? We've got fucking Osha and Homeboy going. They're trying to beat Nightfall while the other team is also trying to go and find them and find Kelnaka. So we're kind of going back and forth between the two for a little while. Fucking Osha touches a large fucking roly-poly, or they call them pill bugs in some places, that
Yes.
was on a tree.
Yeah.
And it was the most disturbing fucking thing you'll ever see. But yeah, she fucking touches the thing and immediately it comes to life, and Saul very easily dispatches it with his saber.
Right.
It was never really that threatening. I was just more fascinated by the large roly-polies that apparently eat trees.
So I found it interesting that Soul was the one that, like, it seemed like nobody else, like, the rest of you had sabers. Why didn't somebody else just be like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
why?
they were all there.
But he was the senior one, so it's
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm going to ignite my saber.
Yeah, because
Right.
he's probably the leader of this squad now.
Yeah.
Now that Indara's dead.
So even within the Jedi, it seems like there's this like chain of command that's almost inviolate. Like, okay, I can't ignite my saber until the master does.
Right.
Like, it's his kill first. Almost, you know, and the way there's deference to their master. It's very
Oh.
very like Shogun, like
Yeah, Asian
like-
culture.
like
I was gonna
Asian
say.
culture.
Yeah.
I remember what I was going to say before, and it was more about with these people, I would take their videos and edit them like propaganda style,
Oh.
and then send them and post them on the internet with them basically saying all the things
I hate N-words.
right 180 degrees out from what they're complaining about.
Oh, so make them sound like, the bleeding heart liberal types.
Because that's how propaganda works.
Yeah.
And what would they do? It's like, oh, it's your words. Like, you can do that now. I mean, the fucking software is
Yeah, with the fucking AI and all that shit. Jesus Christ.
it'll do that.
Yeah.
Like, and then start just dropping that. Like, you put enough of your own words onto the fucking internet with this language. Guess what? You have to be prepared for what could happen.
Yeah. Sidebar. I've been reading a lot about the AI stuff, and it's mostly just used for like, your deep fakes or whatever. But it's getting better and better, and they're talking about how AI might be able to make a full length movie by itself with, you'd have to give it the inputs, but they'll be able to make one and it'll look just as good as any other CG animated movie. Just something to think about.
It could make it, but
I think part of their agreement with the actors and the writers was that they wouldn't do that. But that doesn't mean that, like, if we get a hold of the software, that we couldn't do it.
Yeah. When it lacks the human element, though, I think that's the worst part.
Yeah.
Like, even AI generated pictures, like, you kind of look at it, like, okay, there's a level of perfection to that image that is unnerving.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the show and try to get this closed up.
Yeah.
So now as May's walking through and talking to fucking homeboy, she all of a sudden like realizes like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I don't have to do this. And I'm just going to turn myself into the Jedi. I'm a good guy now.
Right.
All of a sudden. Just because she knows that Osha is alive. Like, again, much like I didn't understand Osha's motivations in the beginning of the episode, I do not understand May's either. But as we said last episode, May was more into Osha than Osha was into May, and we're still seeing that on display.
Yeah, and honestly, she doesn't understand the Master's motivations for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And if she's marching along, it's like, God damn, none of this shit really makes sense. I'm being pushed by fucking twinkle toes here.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? She's alive. I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Like my whole life right now is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been living with the idea that everyone that meant something to me is dead.
Right.
But now I know that that's not true. So why would I continue to propagate this? She's been churning on that. So if she decides, you know what, no, I'm gonna go ahead and do my own thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's the decision that she makes until the fucking dude shows up and it's like, oh yeah, guess what?
Yeah.
You're gonna try and decide that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take that decision-making ability away from you.
Yep. So she's now, she catches Kamira in the snare, and she's now starting to run away to go find Kelnaka to turn himself in. She trips. When she gets up, the fucking man dog is right there in her face and just starts screaming.
Right.
Yeah.
Screaming like a rabbit that didn't get killed properly. Yeah. See our last episode when we were talking about killing rabbits.
Oh, yeah. We probably spent way too long talking about that, but whatever. Yeah, so she sees the fucking dog. He's screaming. She runs into the hut to find Kelnaka dead already with a fucking lightsaber slash right across his stomach or his midsection.
Right.
So she's like, oh, fuck, he's here already.
Yep.
And, the Jedi come down and they're basically like, come out, May, with your hands up.
Right.
We know you're in there.
This is the police.
Right, yeah.
Come out with your hands up.
Pretty much.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And then, of course, we get a shot of Osha, her face, and we can see behind her, and you slowly see this figure float in. Mm. And, it turns out it's fucking Darth Smiley. And he walks up, gets right in her fucking face. And then I think that this is when he just lifts up his fingers and just goes, pushes her away, lights the fucking lightsaber, and fucking force pushes like all 8 of those fucking Jedi that were there.
Right.
Just like knocks Osha away and then just boom, and they all go flying back. And that's where the episode ended. I'm like, no, you can't just show me that and stop right there.
Oh, yes, they can. And they did.
And the fucking episode was only 28 minutes long.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Bastards.
So, yeah, way to end it on a hell of a cliffhanger. But yeah.
Well, and that's good. I enjoy the fact that let's have some drama. Like let's build this up like we did with Andor, right? Like
Yeah.
kind of start
Make
a
'em
certain
wanting
way,
more
and
and-
like okay, now, all right, tune
Yeah.
in next time.
Now we're gonna ramp up, and
Yeah.
it gets more exciting. Yeah, I get that. So do you want to discuss my theory real quick?
Yes, do it.
Okay, so to me, again, it seems like they're clearly making it Khmer is the bad guy.
Right.
I don't think he's the main bad guy.
Okay.
I think he is the official apprentice of the main bad guy. And he is Darth Smiley. But that is not the main villain. I think the main villain is his master, who is somebody else. Now, I've heard some people theorize that it could be Indara. Like maybe Indara wasn't really dead. I think that theory is bullshit. But after watching these 2 episodes again, I am now thoroughly convinced that the main villain is the fucking Zabrak mother. Because we never saw her body when Homegirl was running through. That you could see the fucking jealousy in her face whenever the girls would run to Mama. And it was clear she favored May, and she like couldn't stand Osha. So my theory is, May burns the fucking book, and then runs away. Homegirl comes from around the corner. Boom, she sets the whole fucking thing on fire. And then she goes in and probably just like force chokes all the fucking witches and kills them all.
Huh.
Because she looks evil. When you look at her, she looks like evil. It's in her eyes. So that's what I think. I think Homeboy is Darth Smiley.
Right.
But he's only the apprentice. And we're going to find out later on that it was the Zabrak mother.
That's a good fucking theory, dude.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I'm basing this on nothing that I've read or anything. I just watching these 2 episodes and I'm like, I think that's what's going on.
That's a really good theory.
So again, I'm sorry if I spoiled it for anybody, if that's what it ends up being.
Oh, fuck. It's all speculation, right? That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
But I have to go back and watch because I didn't remember not seeing her body.
Yeah, I did because I intentionally went in there and looked, rewind. There was one shot where it was showing the overhead shot of the bodies where you could see one girl that kind of looked like her, but I don't think she had horns on her head. So
you would think it would have been more prominent since
Yes.
she was the one who carried the twins.
Yeah, and I think that's part of her problem with the mother and everything else is, she feels like she should be more, I don't know, involved and more,
right,
part of this whole,
instead of just being bad cop.
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, but that's it. That's my theory. Again, based on nothing but me watching the show multiple times and then just being like, I think this is what's going on. So,
no, I like it. I have nothing to add to that. That's pretty fucking good.
yeah. So, all right, recap of these last 2 episodes. Overall thoughts?
I think for episode 3, I thought it was well put together to tell us how, again, from somebody's perspective, how it went down.
Yeah.
And how our tragic backstory, right? And how we got to where we are. And then episode 4 gives us a glimpse of, how Jedi number 3 dies.
Yep.
As far as killing off the Wookiee, which was a little anticlimactic, to be honest.
Yeah,
but,
a lot of people were disappointed that they never got to see him in action.
right.
So,
He seemed like, he whip stirred his way fucking into nothing.
yeah.
Which, is sad, but 28 minutes, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But overall, I'm ready for the next one.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And let's just keep going. I agree that it's a good show. Is it the best thing the Star Wars ever made? No.
No, of course not.
It has its issues, but
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the story so far, and I want to see where it goes. So it's Star Wars. Let's keep it coming.
Yep, and I 100% agree with that. I definitely think 3 was the strongest episode of these 2. But the 4th one, once we finally got to the fucking planet, And then we got to the conclusion. It was a lot more exciting, but yeah, the beginning was kind of slow and all that. So,
everything's got to build from somewhere, and I think that's where we're at.
Yeah.
We're we may be in a turning point now that we're halfway through.
I think so.
Now we're
obviously we're at a turning point. Homeboy's like right in their face now.
Yeah.
Lightsaber ignited, ready to roll.
Revealed ourselves to the Jedi.
Yeah. And yeah, so this is also why, if my theory was correct, why the creating the Force baby, could make sense, because Homegirl already knew about the technique because, her girlfriend did it on her. So if she's the master, she can then teach Darth Plagueis how to do that. And then he'll go up to Shmi Skywalker. He's like, all right, let's look for the poorest, beatest bitch I can find on this planet. Ah, there she is.
Come here, let me rub on your belly.
Yeah. But yeah,
but that really wouldn't work because they got to do the scissor launch first.
Oh my god, that would be such an easy T-shirt to make too. You can just get any stock photo of 2 pairs of scissors,
right?
Put them on there, and then just in the Star Wars font, how Force babies are made.
Scissors. Somebody get on that.
Yeah. I have no issue with any of the things that people are complaining that broke canon. There's some suspect acting here and there, but I mean, fuck, look at A New Hope, the greatest movie of all time.
Right.
You think some of those early Mark Hamill scenes were fucking Shakespeare?
No.
No.
All right. Let's get this done.
Okay. Do we got any reads for the end?
All I'm going to say is that everyone can go to bio.link /thesidebarcantina to find our stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go through the whole read because I have to go pick up my car. So it'll be the short version. Go to bio.link /thesidebarcantina. See all our stuff. Go find all our friends. The Orange and Fett Show. Bronco Fett was in the chat all night. Thank you, sir. Escape Pod guys. Go see their stuff on Wednesday. And Layman's Terms, Swede, all those guys. Do it. Do the things.
Do it. All right. The only other thing I have is next week we're doing Anchorman 20th anniversary. Fucking, I cannot believe that that's 20 years old.
I can't either.
Yeah. But
yeah,
so it is.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Great excuse to watch it.
Yep. And we're also doing our Patreon giveaway. So you guys have a week if you want to join. Just throw in as little as $1 and you can be put into the drawing for the mystery box that we're going to do next week.
That's right.
All right. And that's it, guys. We're going to end the show and the stream now because Dave's got to get out of here. So thank you again. We love you guys. And Dave, until next time, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Okay, now what do I click? That.
All right.
I click that.
All right, guys. Thanks. You're the best. We'll see you next week. Peace.